The campus of Virginia Tech, where tonight the nation gets its first look at maybe college football's best player. Byron Leftwich, he's this generation's prototype QB, in total command of offense on demand. He's a senior with skills and smarts, and he sent expectations soaring in West Virginia. When he comes across the border tonight, and 65,000 Hokie faithful and one tough defense await, they think something special's cooking in Blacksburg. College football Thursday night presented by Circuit City. One of 5 top 25 matchups this weekend. Marshals come 190 miles across the Blue Ridge Mountains to meet Virginia Tech. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the start of the college football weekend. Mike Tirico with you. Byron Leftwich would be the #1 pick if the NFL draft was held tonight. Virginia Tech's the best defense he's going to see between now and when he gets to the NFL. Can Byron Leftwich win the Heisman tonight? No. Can Byron Leftwich ensure that #1 draft position? He can help it a lot. But Marshall fans have been asking for this game all year. Be careful what you ask for. Virginia Tech's defense is young. They're fast. They're really good. And this atmosphere is one of the toughest in the country. This is the home of Beamer Ball. The head coach of Virginia Tech is with Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Coach, Beamer Ball always seems to be at its best when you guys play a quality opponent. You've got one tonight. How in the world do you stop this Marshall offense, and specifically Byron Leftwich?
Well, we really do. He's an excellent quarterback, probably the best in the country. I think, like any quarterback, you got to disrupt him. And if we can't do that, if you let him sit back there and throw now, he's excellent.
Your running back tandem, arguably the best in the nation, facing a defense that's 106th a year ago against the run. One would think the game plan would be simple. Just run the football, but is it?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of people close to the line of scrimmage, and they really concentrate. They've made that a point of emphasis and proven that, and I know they'll be better. And we just got to do our thing.
Well, Mike Tirico, when Frank Beamer was a little boy, he thought the S on Superman's chest stood for special teams. That's why he's made those guys the superheroes here in Hokie land.
Well, Doc, Coach Corso, Kirk Herbstreit concur. And let's talk for a second about the #9 team in the country. Leftwich is the headline, but the big story here is a good Virginia Tech team. Start with their defense, young but fast.
Well, Frank Beamer just touched on it. He talked about disrupting Byron Leftwich. It's a young defense, but Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, has built a defense around an aggressive attitude and attacking. They have defensive ends that are as athletic as any defensive ends you're going to see in college football. Nathaniel Adebe on one side and Jim Davis on the other. They're going to come after Byron Leftwich. They're going to try to pressure with 4. But we all know eventually Virginia Tech is going to bring pressure. They're going to bring 5 and 6. How will Leftwich handle it? We'll have to wait and see.
That's going to be an interesting story. But also on the storyline is Virginia Tech has 2 of the best tailbacks in the nation, in Lee Suggs and, geez, I drew a blank right there, Kevin Jones. Now, Suggs and Jones are great compliments to each other because they both run, they're big, they're fast, and they'll hit you. Now, the key thing about Suggs, number 22, he's a strong inside runner. He loves to run near the goal line, and boy, he can run. Now, this kid, you talk about run, Kevin Jones can flat out fly. It's 5 yards, no yards, 75 yards. Kevin Jones is a great player. Mike Jones and Suggs, boom, they're a really good football player.
This is an explosive and very talented football team. Their one question, can they win a game throwing the ball? First start for sophomore quarterback Brian Randall tonight. Kickoff in a few minutes on a perfect night in Blacksburg. We send you back to the studio, and a good evening to Chris Fowler.
And then names and untouchables was what came out of it all.
People like come up and give me a handshake. I can't believe I touched on untouchable stuff.
Y'all special. I'm standing beside something special.
I think Lee's definitely a big brother, but you know, Kevin's a very mature guy.
See, the girls say I'm nice and chocolate, so they might as well call me Hershey. I'm KJ, and I rock that #7 jersey.
I think Lee is a great short yardage goal line runner, but he has the speed and the moves to take it the distance.
Here's Suggs, all alone, 10-5, touchdown.
I think Kevin's a little more of a flashy runner right now.
Sometimes they call me Holiday. Every time I touch the ball, it's like Christmas.
I'm so laid back, you know, and he's so energetic and talks a lot, you know, so it just fits. If we had two guys talking, you know, might say the wrong thing.
Well, we've always believed that, you know, you just got to have at least 2 tailbacks because, you know, those guys are going to get nicked up.
I'm getting old.
You are.
Hamstring, back, neck.
Ever since I've been in Tech, it's been 2 backs that's played. You know, I'm always rotating.
I don't think it matters that much because I'm still getting the ball, he's getting the ball. I think everybody's happy and we're winning games.
the weight room an appropriate place to interview those guys. Those guys are both specimens. They have an amazing strength and conditioning program at Virginia Tech. Meanwhile, in Huntington, West Virginia, not nearly enough tickets to this game in Blacksburg to meet the demands of their fans. So they set up a big screen watching inside Marshall University Stadium. A couple thousand more at Harris Riverfront Park. That's nice because instead of just throwing stuff at your TV when Lee says something wacky, you can all join together and boo. It's a lot more fun to be together. Kickoff coming up, Mr. Suggs and Mr. Jones for the Hokies. Can Marshall handle them? Will this be a Byron Leftwich breakout night? Mike, Doc, Lee, and Kirk with kickoff after this.
My friend next to me would say, life is good. Perfect night. Two top 25 teams. Two schools have made astounding climbs over the recent years into the polls. Both play for championships consistently. The Hokies take the field. It's a huge night for their visitor from Huntington, West Virginia, Marshall. Their head coach, Bob Pruitt, final words to his team in the locker room a couple of moments ago before taking on the 9th-ranked team in the country.
Let's go out and show people, hey, we got a good football team, a good football program, and we have fun playing football. Understand? You have fun playing football. Have some fun with it now. Don't be uptight. Go out there and let's just play. Let's play hurt ball. Yes, sir.
That's the scene inside the Marshall locker room, and this is the scene Lane Stadium, Worsham Field, new south end zone completed, 65,000 on hand, a great crowd, and a terrific atmosphere for football. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit again. Marshall's going to get the ball first as we're here a minute before kickoff. Tell me what to look for early on from both teams. Lead with Marshall.
What I'm looking for, that Virginia Tech's defense. I want you to chart out there how many times the Virginia Tech front seven hit or sack Byron Leftwich, because Kirk, I think that's a secret. Not only sacking him, but hitting him like Miami hit Grossman. Boom, 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 over and over again.
Well, Marshall's coming to this game respecting Virginia Tech's defense, so you can bet they're going to come in. We talked yesterday with Byron. He said it's going to be a little bit more conservative. Survive the initial surge of this crowd and this defensive pressure. Maybe try to work to establish the running game and then go back to doing what they do best, and that's throwing the ball with Byron.
The other nice subplot, I mentioned these two schools are separated by 190 miles. There are a lot of kids on the field who know each other. There's no hiding behind the face mask in this one. The state of Virginia has become very rich for athletic talent over the last few years. And this tells you right there, 21 for Marshall and 49 for Virginia Tech from the state of Virginia. And how about Deep Creek High School? They play tomorrow night, but this is the night to give them their shout out. 9 players in this game come from Deep Creek High School in that talented Tidewater area of Chesapeake. Well, he is the winningest coach at his alma mater. And right before the game, Frank Beamer's jersey number was retired. As Frank said, a former defensive back who had 9 interceptions in his career, they did it more for my coaching than my playing. And he goes up against Bob Pruitt, a guy who's known for 30 years here tonight. Virginia Tech won the toss, deferred the option to the second half, so Marshall will receive. That means you'll get Byron Leftwich coming on the field right away, but you also get your first look at Virginia Tech special teams, from blocking kicks to coverage, among the best in the country. Virginia Tech beat LSU on this field 10 days ago. Marshall beat Appalachian State in its opener in Huntington, 50-17. We are underway from Blacksburg. And Roberto Terrell going to take a seat after the deep kickoff by John Muller. Here comes Byron Leftwich, 6'6", senior quarterback, 28th career start, 20-7 is his record. Maybe one of the top 5 quarterbacks to ever come here and play against Frank Beamer's V-Tech team. Handling the ball, 1 back, 3 wides. Franklin Wallace, top rusher the last 2 years. First game for Darius Watts, shoulder injury. Davis, 11 for 264 in the opener. Marriott had 234 in their bowl game. Raiders, a transfer from Georgia. They like him a lot. Byron Leftwich, welcome to Blacksburg. Opening drive from the 20. Quick toss complete to Denaro Marriott. We'll have a first down at the 30. A 10-yard pickup. Vegas Robinson made the tackle. Lee said it before. Key to this game, keep Leftwich upright. Steve Shulo, Playboy All-American on the left side. Edwards, the captain in the middle. They've got to do a lot. Virginia Tech's defensive front, young and fast. They grow 6-foot-plus fast defensive ends here, Lee.
95, Jim Davis, defensive coordinator. Bud Foster said he's the best football player we have on the defense, period.
That's your guy tonight?
That's my guy. Watch him.
He's everybody's guy. Your guy.
First and 10 from the 30. Play 2 is a Leftwich design draw that gains -2. Vegas Robinson right there. Flag was picked up, so no flag from the Big East officials. 2nd and 8 coming up. Let's check the 2nd and 12, I should say. 3 starters replaced. These guys are pretty good. Robinson's a future star.
Roniel Whitaker back from a 2-game suspension, anxious, and D'Angelo Hall, number 4, might be one of the best corners in all of college football. Watch him tonight.
Is that your guy tonight?
That's my guy.
Okay.
Hall is bottom of the screen on 2nd, and we'll call it 13. Leftwich has some time. That one a little bit short for Darius Watts. It's incomplete. 3rd down coming up. They did not move the down marker. That should have been back at the 28-yard line because he lost a couple on the run. The down marker on the far side was not moved, and the umpire's done a good job. He spotted it. They're putting the ball in the correct spot. Well, you know what? They're not, Lee. They're making a mistake here.
Yeah, they are.
They're putting the ball at the 30, and they're making a mistake. It should be at the 28.
And this is not a good situation for Marshall.
Uh-oh, they're going to fix it.
They got it.
Now they're getting it right.
Okay.
Virginia Tech has only allowed 4 of the last 27 3rd and long situations to make first down. 4 out of 27. Not good.
Byron Leftwich, the first thing he said yesterday is we have to avoid 3rd and long. All offenses want to avoid 3rd and long, but especially early in the game against this defense with this crowd. Here comes the crowd.
I think they love 3rd down so much because if they stop them, then the punt block team comes on, and they really go nuts. Leftwich, punt right, back left, complete. Marriott lost the ball. Robinson took it away. Who's got it? Hokies. Vegas Robinson, the recovery.
Marshall has to be happy here with the execution. We talked about can they protect Leftwich. Here he has all day to throw. Comes back to his secondary receiver. And Marriott's just got to hold on to the football. If he holds on to it, he has the first down.
Ryan Randall, sophomore from Williamsburg, Virginia. First ever college start. Played the bulk of the LSU game after Grant Knoll injured his knee. Robinson, first one. Hit as he got rid of it, and incomplete. Good rush from Jameis Martin. Off the end. He's from Martinsville, Virginia. Back home and feeling good. Well, let's go check Randall. Better athlete than quarterback right now. 51 career passes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Handling the ball, they're awesome at tailback. Suggs starts. You'll see Jones later. The fullback, he may see the ball once tonight. Witten, Wilford, and Willis, total in 2 games, 6 catches. If there's a weakness to Virginia Tech, it's catching the ball downfield. 2nd and 10. That's it. Fullback already. We're done. That's it for the night. Doug Eastlick goes nowhere. It'll be 3rd and a long 8 coming up. Check the offensive line. Anthony Davis is a senior. Grove, the center, is a guy Coach Corso likes. His offensive line answered questions about itself against LSU. Lee, defense was poor against the run last year for Marshall.
Yeah, but number 95, Orlando Washington, had already started off good. Last year, he was a 2nd-team All-MAC. He's a defensive captain. He stopped the first inside running play. Nice job, Orlando.
3rd and 10. Throwing down. They bring heat. Randall got away from it. For Witten. Good catch. 15-yard line. First down. Picked up 30.
Now, Ryan Randall makes a good play on scrambling, but Kirk, he could have for at least further than he threw the football. Watch the opening right there. But he makes a good play on a run, doesn't he?
Does a nice job here. Remember, he's still a young quarterback.
Yeah.
The thing that it's a little risky for Marshall. All-out blitz here on 3rd and long. He had the run, but he also able to find an open receiver downfield one-on-one.
Movement on John Dunn, the sophomore right tackle, will back Virginia Tech out of the red zone.
The snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Let's finish up the lineups with Marshall. Those linebackers, a key player there in Charles Tynes, number 45 in white. You'll see him a bunch tonight. He's out of Bluefield, West Virginia. Durant Smith in the middle. It's a classic thumper. This is the best part of their defense.
This is the most talented bunch. The safeties are going to be at the line of scrimmage, so Terrell and Satterwhite have to play well in man coverage. They're going to be on an island all night long. 1st and 15 for a first down, 21 for a touchdown.
Rando was locked on one guy and then got to see Torino Brown come on in. The junior from Batesville, Mississippi, with the sack.
It's funny because we're watching two defenses with the same theory. They're both going to crowd the line. Marshall's made it very clear this first drive. They're bringing everybody. They realize that Brian Brandle is inexperienced as a quarterback. He still is developing as a thrower, so they're going to give him man, and they're going to blitz him and give him a lot of different looks to see how he handles it.
I was interested to see that Virginia Tech didn't immediately go the running game against LSU. They ran the ball in.
23 yards for a first down. 2 plays to get it. Lee Suggs got about 3. Chris Crocker, a very good free safety. He's one of those kids from the high school we talked about with 9 players in the game. He made the stop there.
We're going to be calling Chris Crocker and Terrence Tarpley's name all night. They are one thing they've been doing in preparing for this game is they've been seeing Lee Suggs and Kevin Jones in their sleep. Their entire mission today is to stop Virginia Tech from running and make them throw.
From here, it would be a 42-yard field goal, so they need 19 for a first down. 10 yards would certainly help get them closer for 3. Pressure again. Randall put it up, and that's going to be incomplete. Randall had to throw the ball early, and the sophomore receiver, Richard Johnson, had no idea that his quarterback was getting lit up by that man right there, Terrence Tarpley. Marshall's defense shows a little bit more than some expected to see out of the Thundering Herd, at least in that first drive. And Carter Worley will come on for a field goal. Made his only attempt this year. Struggled last year. Just about a dozen. And Virginia Tech calls for time. They only had 10 players on the field.
And who's responsible for that?
Frank Beam was the special teams coach. Anthony Davis wasn't on the field. They weren't happy with it. So the field goal attempt will come up from the same distance, but Tech is shy 1 timeout.
Tell you what, guys, considering what happened there for Marshall, when they had the ball offensively, they had people open downfield, and within their first few plays, came up with a first down on 3rd and long. Fumbled it, had a mistake. They gave up the ball inside their own 50, and for their defense to play that way, it's a big lift for them. They talked about playing well early in this game, to stay in it early. It's a great start for them.
But I think Virginia Tech played right into their hands by trying to be fancy. I mean, they cannot be fancy. Looking at the LSU film, they were very, very fortunate to win that game, but they won it with special teams and running the football. I think, Kirk, they got to go back to that. Even though they have 8 in the box, make it work.
Yep, it's going to be 8 and 9 all night long.
All right, so here is Worley's attempt. The second-year kicker, an all-state soccer player in prep school at Fort Union, from 42 yards out. Got it. Virginia Tech turns a turnover into a field goal. Hokies 3, Thundering Herd nothing in Blacksburg. Out in Blacksburg, happy to see Virginia Tech turn the fumble into 3 points. Short drive, they got to the 16, but backed up with penalties. John Molerup will kick it off. He averages kicking it right about to the 1 or 2 yard line. Good senior kicker. We'll see where Byron Leftwich and the Thundering Herd will get their hands on the ball.
Like last year, Marshall had problems with the kickoff return. They ranked 109th in kickoff return.
Very poor. Wilbur Hargrove is on the field, but he will not catch this one. It will be Brandon Carey. excellent coverage once again by Virginia Tech. Lamar Cobb, a defensive end who you'll see a decent amount tonight, brought him down. ESPN's College Football Saturday after game day from Columbus. It's an ACC double dip. Georgia Tech and Clemson at noon Eastern down in South Carolina. Then in prime time, College Football Saturday presented by U.S. Postal Service. Number 5 Florida State Chris Ricks taking on Ralph Region's Maryland team. That's after the scoreboard show. 7:45 Eastern. College Football Saturday on ESPN. Plus a good slate of games on ESPN2 as well.
Get the 3 receivers up here for Marshall.
They'll show you a bunch of formations tonight. And they're swinging out to one of those receivers who lost the ball. And it's incomplete. Curtis Jones was the last one there. He caught it. But it was ruled incomplete. Never had possession. Virginia Tech Marshall receivers are highly touted. Very skilled. They put up some gaudy numbers against some people. But they need to help Byron Leftwich's big picture hopes tonight.
Using the wristbands, receivers, quarterback, running backs. Everybody has to play with the crowd noise, and then Byron communicates to the offensive line about protections and the play.
Haven't seen Marshall repeat the same formation yet tonight.
Great protection.
Loading up down the middle. First down and more for Curtis Jones. Roniel Whitaker brings him down at the 47-yard line. 37 on the pass play.
Now, Byron Leftwich has great protection. Keep your eye on the center and the left tackle. The left tackle's taking that man out. Good position. Watch the way he steps forward, Kirk. Watch the way he steps forward.
When you give Byron Leftwich time to throw, he can pick a defense apart. And Marshall feels they have the best 4 receivers on one team in the nation. And they're getting an early test tonight to show what they can do.
The way he stepped forward.
And he has a chance to set his feet and throw. And he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks you're going to see.
A lot of games going on at the line of scrimmage. Tech had something on, called it off, confused Leftwich, timeout Marshall. A lot going on pre-snap here tonight. It's because Leftwich is a smart quarterback, and we'll talk more about that when we come back.
ESPN College Football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City. Brought to you by the new H2. Hummer, like nothing else. And by Net Zero. Get the access without the excess. Go to netzero.com today.
Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Dr. Jerry Punch with you for College Football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City in Blacksburg, Virginia. The Hokies leading 3-0. After the timeout, it's 1st and 10 for the Thundering Herd. The tight end Jason Rader in motion. And a handoff to Franklin Wallace. They call him Butchie. Around Huntington, West Virginia, and give Butchie about 5 yards. He's a junior from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Dr. Jerry Punch down on the sideline.
Well, guys, Marshall head coach Bobby Pruitt said, you know, we've gone to South Carolina, we've gone to Clemson last year, we were at Florida down in the swamp, and it's very important. We understand when we play away, we have got to take the crowd out of the football game. 65,000 here got very quiet, but I bet it's getting very loud at Marshall University Stadium in Huntington because the Herd is on the move.
Yeah, they're watching the game there on the big screen. We say hi to those folks. 2nd and 5, come back with the play that fell apart earlier. This time Curtis Jones held on and picked up a 1st down at the 34. Fans, as mentioned earlier, at Marshall University Stadium. A couple thousand came in. The money raised tonight goes to the scholarship fund at Marshall University. We've been there for a couple of College Football Thursday nights. They're good people and are very proud. No. Lee Corso is not your dad, young man. I know Lee Corso's children. You're not Lee Corso's children.
They went to Indiana and Florida State.
Marshall's offense impressive thus far. That movement may have been induced by the defensive end, and the play's blown dead. Gene Steratore looks familiar. He was our referee with this crew at BYU a couple of weeks ago. They're going to follow us all year.
Neutral zone infraction on the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Movement induced by the defensive end.
Well, one of the things that the defensive ends are doing is they're trying to get the snap count and listening to it. But I think Marshall's doing a wonderful job. They've got Kirk, you know, with the silent snap count, which means the center can snap the ball anytime he's ready. That's very good on Marshall's part.
The other thing they're doing is they're mixing in a lot of formations, the run, the pass. They're keeping Virginia Tech's aggressive defense more on their heels than able to pin their ears back.
Colas was the guilty party there. Leftwich to throw. Lots of time, too. Fires complete to the 6 for Curtis Jones again. So the senior Jones has come out with a couple of big games tonight. That one for 24.
This is when you have a great relationship between a quarterback and the receiver. Byron Leftwich threw this ball to a spot and waited for Jones to make the adjustment. He put enough of a touch on the ball. What you couldn't see there is while he threw that, Jones was tangled up with a defender, and then he pulled away right into the open area.
But did you notice those famous defensive ends from Virginia Tech haven't come close to him yet? Not close to him, Mike.
Eddie Smolder, the backup tight end, is in there. He's a better blocker. They give to Wallace. Not much room to go. Yards are tough down here against Tech. Michael Crawford, the rover out of Baltimore, Maryland, made the play.
And if those defensive ends, gentlemen, are not getting to him, then Steve Shulo and Nate McPeak, the two tackles, have got to be doing a wonderful job, Kirk.
Well, Byron Leftwich feels that he has the two best bookends to help him have time, no matter who he's playing. Now, down inside the 5-yard line, one of the plays that Marshall likes to go to with their receivers in one-on-one coverage is a simple fade route to the receivers on the outside.
Leftwich looking for the back out of the backfield. Wallace did not hang on. That's incomplete. What a stick from D'Angelo Hall. Remember that name and number. Oh, he is good.
Your guy finally did something.
Yeah, D'Angelo Hall is a physical corner, and here he shows that ability to come up and stick somebody, lays the wood. I think that one of the things that Hall brings is quickness with a great physical presence for a corner. You don't always see that combination.
Shame that throw wasn't accurate, huh? Man,
throw a spiral, will you, Byron?
3rd and goal. Look for Marriott, covered back underneath. It's dropped by Josh Davis, who had 264 yards in the opener. Field goal time for the Thundering Herd.
Pretty good answer, though. Good football teams answer. They'd answered right back.
Byron Leftwich is 5 of 9 for 98 yards, and he's got 3 drops. I think he's dialed in tonight. Give a lot of the credit to the offensive line for giving him time to throw.
Slight concern here for the kicker, Curtis Head, attempting from 21 yards, limited in practice because of an abscess on his kicking foot. Blocked. They've done it again. D'Angelo Hall. Flag is down. Hall will score. The amazing Virginia Tech special teams do it again with the block. Well, let's check the flag first. It might be a hold on the run back on Tech.
They threw that back in the direction where you would assume it'd be a push in the back.
Going forward, maybe on the handoff of the ball.
Well, first of all, I know Beamer ball is about blocking kicks, but I think the 3 of us could have gotten in the way of this one. This was a low kick. It was low. But once D'Angelo Hall is fighting for the football, it's almost like rugby. It's a scrum. Now watch the kick here. Did he? Ooh, that's off the center.
Right off his butt.
Now D'Angelo Hall picks it up behind him. There was a push in the back, and they're going to bring it all the way back.
Called an illegal forward pass. It will, in all likelihood, technically be a block. And sometimes timing is rushed because of intimidation. And that's why Frank Beamer's teams average better than a kick block every 2 games. It's just amazing numbers. And they have already done it a couple of times this year.
Marshall, I think, had 3 extra points blocked last week. So this is one of the weakest parts of this football team Bobby Pruitt has as against the strength of that man, Frank Beamer.
Special teams are weak. Head missed 3 extra points last week, in part because of bad foot. And that kick wasn't very nice either. So, great drive, nothing to show for it. Tech back on the field. And here's Lee Suggs. Gets it out to the 14, a pickup of about 3 yards, and Yancey Satterwhite made the tackle.
How often do you have a field goal blocked and catch a break? Because that's how Virginia Tech beats you. They block a kick and they return it for 50 or 60 yards and a touchdown, and now you're down 10-0. The crowd's in the game. You get your own field goal blocked, and the crowd stays quiet. They go out of the game thanks to that penalty.
Right. So. 2nd and 6 now. Suggs again, second carry. Big opening up the middle. Big opening down the sideline. Lee Suggs to the 35. 21 first down yards until Charles Tynes made the tackle.
One of the great things about Lee Suggs is he scored a touchdown in each of the 15 games he started for Virginia Tech. Kirk, a nice cutback, but the big tackle on the left side, Anthony Davis, did a nice job.
Anthony Davis picks up the block, and Lee Suggs, when you talk about his strength, it's his vision.
Yep.
Ability to see the hole open up, and then the burst to get inside it. And he also has power. He's got all the things you're looking for in a premier back.
Keep your eye at number 7.
He comes out, they get better. Kevin Jones.
That guy.
They get better. Kevin Jones. 43-yard line. 8 first down yards. Jones, a sophomore from Chester, PA.
Jones has, talking about a burst, this is the speed guy. When he gets back there, he's got tremendous speed. He just needs a crack. He shows also a little bit of power. Marshall keeping everybody up at the line of scrimmage. And I think Virginia Tech went back and listened to Lee and said, listen, we don't care how many you have up there. We're going to come right at you with our ground game.
Jones, the most highly rated recruit in Virginia Tech history. There's Michael Vick's old number, 7. Here he goes again, this time into the teeth of that defense, but enough, as you see, past the yellow line for a first down at the 46-yard line. You may remember there was a ceremony last home game against LSU. They retired Michael Vick's jersey, not his number, just like they did with Frank Beamer, the head coach tonight. And I think it's a great move because it honors Mike Vick, one of the best players this school will ever see, and it also gives you a recruiting chip. You can offer to great recruits like this guy, hey, you can come wear Mike Vick's number and make 7 something special.
Like Syracuse does 44, right?
That's correct, sir. So Jones earned it last year. Big East Rookie of the Year, nearly 1,000 yards. After Suggs' injury, he took over the running back job. It's 3 carries in a row now for Jones to the 48. And whenever he gets winded after picks up to 8, 5, and 6, he goes bring Suggs back in.
Kevin Jones earned my respect, Kirk and Mike, when he got 160 yards rushing against Miami last year. Yo.
Yep. Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said. Virginia Tech, last few plays they've gone to the 2 tight end look, and they've simplified things, running the ball. And a great play is the option against man coverage from Marshall, because if you get the pitch to the outside, there's a big alley out there for the running back.
And you can option more with Randall as the quarterback. This is good old line them up. Let's go. It's between the tackles. If you want to take it outside, that's fine too. We're running all the way down the field. Jones out, Suggs in. Got some water, let's go. Jones 4 carries, 24 yards.
2 great players, and couldn't be any different from a personality standpoint. Lee Suggs, quiet, reserved, have to almost guess what he's thinking. Kevin Jones wears his emotions on his sleeves.
When we were hanging with them yesterday, I'd say for every 50 words Jones said, Suggs had 2, right?
Right.
There goes Suggs. Delivers the blow against Durant Smith. A good thumper in there at middle backer. That's a pickup of 8.
Anthony Davis, Jacob Gibson, Jake Rowe, the left side of the Virginia Tech offense is just coming off the ball. You know what they remind me of this drive? Miami last week when we saw them against the Hurricanes, against the Gators. They came off the ball with an explosion, didn't they, Kirk? Boom, boom, boom.
Just came up and they handed the ball to McGahee and just said, pound him, pound him. Yeah, it is.
It's been all Jones and Suggs on this drive that started at the 10. Richard Johnson, sophomore receiver, is in motion. Suggs again. These are my favorite kind of football drives because this shows you, hey, we're going to be here all night, and we don't need to be special. We're just going to pound you.
And what happens to a defense psychologically when this happens. This is worse than an 80-yard touchdown because they're wearing you down physically and mentally when you go about 8 or 9 plays at 5 and 6 yards a clip by running it right down their throat.
You showed number 21 Terrence Tarpley as that rover being a good, well, he's making a lot of tackles now, and that's not good.
Not at all.
Not very good. When the safeties are making tackles, not good, Mike.
When do you throw? When do you go play action?
Play action.
Next week.
Jones.
Hello.
9 plays, 90 yards, 9 carries, 90 yards, 4 for Suggs, 5 for Jones, including the 25-yard touchdown. Extra point added by Carter Worley. In the Frank Beamer era, Virginia Tech has scored 600 touchdowns. The latest, a 25-yarder from Kevin Jones. 10-2 speed in the 100. I think you can see the 7 on the back more often than you see the 7 on the front. Jones, the 5th of the 9 rushes for 90 yards on that drive. The Philadelphia Phillies fan takes it in. Suggs had 2, Jones had 4. Suggs had 2 more, and Jones came in for the coup de grace. That's a men against boys drive, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Really, it's no disrespect to Marshall. It's just Virginia Tech's a physical, pounding football team. Roberto Terrell. Check that. Brandon Carey wishes it was Roberto Terrell. Taken down at the 12 by Jimmy F. Williams.
Let's take a look why that play worked so well. Keep your eye on Jake Grove right there, the center. Now keep your eye. He'll get Washington and stay with him, Kirk. Look at his nice feet. That's the reason why the hole was there. Jake Grove made a nice play, Kirk.
And play side, Joe Dunn, the right tackle, just cleared out his man. And the cutback here, designed cutback by Jones. And once he gets clear, it's just speed. He has the speed to split the safeties, and he's all the way into the end zone.
When we talk special teams, we often talk about the block kicks. Talk about field position. Drive starts at the 20, the 15, and now the 12. Brandon Carey takes it out to the 16-yard line. Picked up 4. Jim Davis, the guy who Coach talked about earlier, made the tackle.
Very, very important for Marshall to remain calm when it comes to play calling. 2 minutes still to go in just the first quarter. I know it seems like they're really getting behind with the momentum, but this game is very early. And the guy you want under center is Byron Leftwich in this case.
Saw this formation with the pass to the receiver in the back of the line twice the last drive. This time Leftwich looks downfield and it's covered, and Byron goes down, trying to make something happen. Is the ball free? Is it Tech ball? Let's see. The referee looked for a second. Leftwich still had it. Excellent coverage downfield by Hall, Whitaker and company.
Coverage sack by Virginia Tech. Secondary sitting back in zone. They're showing a lot of blitz, showing different looks up front, trying to confuse the offensive line, but this time he had time to throw. That was just outstanding coverage.
Tim Sandage, Jason Lawless, the rest of the defense, all fired up. Pin your ears back, 3rd and a dozen. Marshall's got it at its own 10.
As I said in the pregame show, this is one football team you don't want to get behind before they come after that passer.
Got a free play here.
Tech offside. Leftwich fires incomplete for Darius Watts, who got turned around. But Foster's defensive ends are young and fast. They've been jumping the starter's gun a couple of times. Bud's the defensive coordinator here at Virginia Tech. Outstanding coach.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
2 fabulous NFL games to start our 2002 season on ESPN. The Sunday Night Crew pulls into Pittsburgh to see Rich Gannon and the Raiders take on Cordell Stewart and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Game time after prime time, 8:30 Eastern. Riding the bus on Sunday Night Football on ESPN. Mike, Joe, Paul, and Susie will be at beautiful Heinz Field in Western PA. Not too far north of here. 3rd and 7. Just 3 in the pattern for Leftwich. Throws perfectly to Watts. Could not hang on. Vincent Fuller there on the coverage, and the punt block team comes out for Tech.
I'm going to say this because I said at the beginning of the show, I didn't know how good this kid is. Right there, Kirk. That's as good a pass I've seen in the last 5 years in college football. The guy dropped it, but that was a shot from the hash mark to the hash mark. The pros love that.
Curtis head kicks. Gets it away like it was on fire. And a good kick, too. Unreturnable. D'Angelo Hall lets it go out of bounds, but fine field position at the 44-yard line. This is why I have a problem with the number of people that vote for the Heisman Trophy. If you look at the stats for this game and don't get to see Byron Leftwich in person, it's probably going to end up like Leftwich didn't have a good night. He's been great in this first half.
We saw Dorsey last week. We saw Grossman last week. And this kid is much better in person than Grossman and Dorsey.
4 drops tonight. His wide receivers have to help him. I mean, the last play, Darius Watts, who's one of the better receivers in the country, come back to the ball. If he comes back to the ball, Fuller's not going to get around to make the play. They've got to help him out.
Leftwich can handle this environment.
Yeah,
I don't know if
can the team.
I don't know his defense can.
Oh, here comes some option, a little triple option out of this formation from Virginia Tech.
Randall at the quarterback. There you go. Stick it in the belly. Pull it out. If you count the numbers right. And Randall spins and turns to the 47. Picks up 3 yards. It's like radar over there. Herb Street loves seeing a little bit of triple option. The radar just went up.
That's
Air
his
Force.
stuff.
Well, let me just tell you
that's his stuff.
Brian Steinspring, the new offensive coordinator, first year as a coordinator, he called the plays in the Gator Bowl against Florida State. He's doing a good job. But they also brought in a secret weapon by the name of Kevin Rogers. Was at Syracuse for years. Was at Notre Dame last year as an offensive coordinator. This year he's kind of a consultant and quarterback coach. And one of the things that they put in is a lot of formations and the option.
First pass in the last 11 snaps is caught by the fullback, Doug Eastlick. One of the fullbacks touched it twice in the first quarter, and Eastlick's right at the line and has a first down.
Remember, I'm reading Frank Beamer told us every once in a while they let him run it, and every once in a while they throw it. But that might be it. That might be it till Texas A&M.
Well, you're right. As long as Eastlick's in there, if they put number 32, Cedric Humes in,
watch out.
Now it becomes more of a Miami of Florida fullback because he's kind of a tailback playing fullback.
Randall was trying to show that awareness and going to let the quarter run out, but the play went out of bounds. It wasn't stopped just because they obtained a first down, so they'll run at least one more here in the opening quarter. Kevin Jones able to pop it outside and only get a yard or so. Was strung out early and cleaned up late by Chris Crocker, the free safety out of Chesapeake. Here's Dr. Punch. Jerry?
Guys, after Virginia Tech's very effective offensive drive a moment ago when the Thundering Herd came to the sideline, Bill Wilt, the defensive coordinator for Marshall, and the defensive line coach, he and Bobby Pruitt made some changes up front. Now the Thundering Herd, Marshall, they're primarily a slant team up front. And Tech took advantage of those slants to be able to get some gaping holes. They changed the slant, changed the front charge to try to fill in some of those holes and try to stop the running game on this possession.
A little bit better, Jerry, on that run. Here's 2nd and 9. Jones again, seeking the hole, and caught from behind at the 28 by Charles Times. Add 16 to Jones' total. He ran for 66 yards in the opening quarter and a touchdown. Virginia Tech ran for 106 yards in the first quarter. All Jones and Suggs. This score from 25 yards out after a missed field goal capped the only touchdown drive after one. Virginia Tech by 10 on College Football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City. Number 2 on the campus of the Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. Thankfully, they say Virginia Tech's okay to call them as well. Hokies lead by the score of 10-0. Lee Suggs is the tailback in the game as their drive continues from the 28-yard line. There's Suggs. Nice block from his fullback Eastlick, but only a yard or so there as he's driven down. Ball out after the hit. Terrence Tarpley, the Rover, led the charge with Kevin Atkins. Virginia Tech a field goal early and then a 90-yard drive all on the ground on their home stadium. 65,000 strong now, Lane Stadium here in Blacksburg. And the fans in Huntington at Marshall University Stadium. some of the cheerleaders who didn't make the trip, they're watching as well. We got together in a couple of different places down in Huntington to watch one of the bigger games that Marshall's played. Remember, they played at Florida last year. Suggs checked out the defense, and they got shut down by Durant Smith.
Speaking of one of the big games for Marshall, you know, they played 4 teams that were ranked in the top 25, and they beat one of them, BYU. So they could beat a good football team, but the problem they have here is I don't think they can match up front physically against this Virginia Tech team who's number 9 in the nation.
Not only physically up front, but the drive where Virginia Tech went 9 plays and 90 yards, that was even the 8th and 9th man that the running backs were able to break the tackle and go through them.
This is the 22nd play for Tech. Probably their 5th pass on the night. Randall with all kinds of time. Incomplete. Trying to get it to Sean Witten for the first down. And we'll look at a 43-yard field goal attempt.
Where Virginia Tech's going to run into some problems down the road, assuming that, you know, to see how the quarterback situation works out with Grant Knoll trying to come back from a knee injury, is when teams can match up physically up front and they have to throw the ball. They play A&M next week.
Thank you. I just raise my hand.
That's what
raise your hand.
That was a tease for you.
That's it. Texas A&M, Kyle Field will match him everywhere.
Carter Worley, good from 42. Bueno from 43 as well. Those 2 field goals by Worley exceed his long of last year, which was 41. Hokies lead 13-0. Dominating on the first quarter by virtue of that 90-yard all-running drive. Marshall yet to get anything on the ground. And they don't figure to be running the ball much as the night goes on. If you're just tuning in, let's take you back to how Virginia Tech put 10 up on the board to get the advantage. This field goal that was messed up from the start was blocked by the back of the center. Because of the forward handoff to D'Angelo Hall from Vincent Fuller, they got the ball back at the 10 and ran it 9 times. A 25-yard score by Kevin Jones, capping it. Byron Leftwich has not been rattled by this rabid crowd thus far this evening. He has been solid. His receivers are letting him down. They're putting the ball down on the ground. A fumble and 4 drops. These are 2 neat programs. Programs that 15, 20 years ago, not many people thought would be competing in a top 20 game on national TV. Fielded by Wilbur Hargrove. They like his speed. But a great open field play by Darryl Trapp, one of the reserve defensive ends that they just grow out here on these farms behind us.
They just keep going.
Here's Doc Punch. Jerry?
You mentioned the receivers letting Byron Leftwich down. Now, Darius Watts, a preseason All-American, number 40 in the Blitnikoff semifinalist a year ago, separated the left shoulder on August 21st. Now, there's number 40, Darius Watts. He did not play in the Appalachian State game. In fact, has had no contact for 21 days. You might understand why he's a little bit rusty. By virtue of degree in terms of severity, that separation was a 3rd degree, and that is the worst he plays tonight.
Hey, Jerry, that last contact, their last full contact scrimmage, so it's been a long haul, and one thing Virginia Tech's defense will do, they'll introduce themselves. Flag down, left tackle move, going to cost them 5, I do believe.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Those couple of offside penalties that we saw Virginia Tech's defensive ends pick up may help them as the night goes on, because you can get a little quick-footed against the Hokies.
Especially when it's 13-0 and the other team can't run and they got a great quarterback. Yo, not good if you're a Marshall fan right now. Sorry.
But stay tuned.
Hey, don't give up on that.
I didn't say
give up on it.
One long pass here, Lee. It's 13-7. Over the game, right?
Okay.
Right? This is where it's gotten louder because they closed off the south end with a beautiful new 3-tier grandstand. Franklin Wallace runs it back past the original line of scrimmage and out to the 16-yard line.
Second down. What you like about Leftwich is that he's not panicking. He's not pointing fingers at his receivers. He's very calm in his demeanor, and that's important for a leader when you're in a situation where you're down 13-0 in what is, I think, one of the toughest environments in college football. You have to be able to look at your leader and feel confident that you can come back. That's something that Byron Leftwich has.
They rush 5. It's picked up. The underneath route is caught by Watts. The guy with the bad shoulders driven into the turf by Garnell Wilds, the reserve cornerback. Junior out of Tampa, Florida. Well, this is the south end zone edition that we were talking about. Remember, guys, this was nothing over here. It's got a scoreboard, some high school bleachers. Yeah. And they got luxury suites in here, 3 tiers. It's tall. It's intimidating. And we talked to the folks. Bill Roth, the longtime play-by-play voice of the Hokies, said it was so loud here during the LSU game compared to other big games. That end zone's made a huge difference.
Well, we came in here a lot in '99 with the year they had Corey Moore and Michael Vick on their way to the Sugar Bowl, and we thought it was loud then. It's even louder.
3rd and 8. Tech rushes 5. Leftwich 5 in the pattern. And completed the 31 for Curtis Jones. A first down for the senior.
Might start to lock in on Curtis Jones. Jones is making catches for him.
The thing I like about Leftwich's delivery, and the fact is, we talked about this before, but Kirk, when he steps forward over that left foot, he's got a perfect throwing motion for 6'6".
Yeah, he's big, 6'6", and he's also, you're seeing different kind of throws. You're seeing the ball that needs to have a little bit extra, a little bit of zip. He also has the touch pass.
Whistles again, stopping play.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
There's a great folksiness to that man, 59-year-old Bobby Pruitt, the winningest coach in Marshall history, a Marshall alum, who got his master's actually here at Virginia Tech.
Sure did.
He said, I was a Virginia Tech fan. I coached high school in this state for 14 years. I love it. But he said, boy, are we really being nice guys. We got their fans, their field, their officials, and if they weren't all hyped up by that, we put the game on national TV, too. That's also Bobby's way of downplaying and telling his guys, you know.
What's Tech, 15-0 on ESPN?
And ESPN, too. 1st and 15. A little more heat that time. And the pass is complete to the 29-yard line. A penalty marker came down as well after Denaro Marriott's catch. Byron took the best of that one.
Maybe a late hit?
Yep.
Yep. Maybe Vegas Ferguson got a hold of Byron Leftwich.
These Virginia Tech players have been hearing about Byron Leftwich. So you knew coming into this game, if they had a chance to put it on him, that they're gonna. I don't know if that's Vegas. Vegas came through more with Billy Hardy, really.
Billy Hardy,
the front side.
Yes, sir. Move from Marshall down to the 44-yard line.
The interesting thing is Billy Hardy is 5'11", 203. And old Byron is 6'6", 240. Old Billy's feeling bad about that one.
1st and 10. Tech coming. Here they all come.
Look out.
And coverage. Couldn't pull it in, Darius Watts. It's running through the ball. Another half step would have taken him the distance.
Again, Byron Leftwich poise being tested. They're bringing everybody, and this is the poise of Leftwich. Sits in the pocket, puts it just enough over the defender. Would have been a tough catch, but Watts should have made that catch. That's the 5th drop now for Marshall.
And remember, he hasn't practiced a lot. And a lot of times when a guy doesn't practice, he doesn't play as well, no matter how good he is.
Make the catch.
Make that catch.
2nd and 10. Time for Leftwich now. Intercepted. He threw it a wrong place. And McCall McKee run it back to the 22-yard line. He had until that one. Tech's 11th interception in the last 8 games, a 25-yard return by the sophomore from Columbia, Maryland, the key.
I don't know if Leftwich even saw him here. Steps right up, and I think he thought Rader, the tight end, was going to continue to slide to the left.
Kevin Jones carried just for a yard or so. Give him 2 officially.
I think he was waiting for Rader, the tight end, middle of the screen, to keep sliding to the left, and when he didn't, McKee does a nice job of just stepping forward and making the catch. I don't even think he saw McKee.
Now remember, this is the first time Byron has had to step forward into the closeness of all those people. So basically, I think he might have been a little bit rattled because it's the first time he caught any pressure on him at all. The offensive line's been doing a nice job.
2 tight ends. Ernest Wilford's the lone receiver, top of the screen. Option Jones. Put on the brakes and brought it back to the 15-yard line. Bring it back. It'll be 3rd and a couple coming up.
Speaking of Jones, I'd like to bring up one point I almost forgot later on. Remember when Virginia Tech blocked the field goal?
Yes.
You know who picked it up, ran all the way with it? Jones. He was on the punt block on the field goal block team. The kid's all over the place, isn't he?
Virginia Tech's all over Marshall in the rushing yards. Here's Jones on 3rd and 2. Jones, touchdown! Point for Worley to make it 20-0. No margin for error against these guys. Absolutely no margin of error in Blacksburg. 4 possessions, 4 scores. 2 turnovers have turned into 10 points. The interception by sophomore McCall-McKee and the touchdown by sophomore Kevin Jones. They are young. They are good. They are up 20 on college football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City. Back in Blacksburg, 20-0, Virginia Tech on top. Hokies out of the Big East, Marshall out of the MAC, American Conference. Tech's defense is forced to fumble, blocked the field goal, intercepted a pass. As Mr. Corso would say, did he?
Good out.
Welcome to Lane Stadium.
That's right. 20-0. Roberto Terrell, hurling runners. And he's brought down at the 25-yard line. A lot of build-up here for Byron Leftwich and what he could do on a national stage. And as I said before, if that was the sale ad to get you into the building, you come out buying Virginia Tech.
Leftwich, and I'm going to say this, I think is a better quarterback than Dorsey and Gross. Now, he's going to get clobbered in this ball game because they're from behind. They can't catch him. But if he was at Miami, I'm telling you, he'd set every record in college football. I'd say that.
Well, the big question is going to be, can he win the Heisman Trophy after a game like this?
I don't think so.
Unless he comes back to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, he's really good.
Inside handoff is a good gain for Brandon Carey. That'll take some of the pressure off the offensive line. An 8-yard run, and here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Just want to remind the folks listening, if I remember correctly, the last time Marshall played on national television was last year in the GMAC Bowl, and they were behind by 30 at the half and came back and won the football game. So this is a pretty good second-half football team.
They believe.
That's it.
The Pirates aren't out there, but they believe.
Listen, 4th quarter game.
East Carolina allowed them to come back. Deflected and caught by Darius Watts. Is complete, but at least these guys do have the confidence knowing that if they do get down, they can get a score here before halftime and be competitive in the second half.
Sure, and with Leftwich just throwing that interception, now we're going to see, now he feels, you know, we talked about his poise, with everything kind of caving in on him. Well, now he throws a pick. Virginia Tech turns it into 6 points. Now he's going to be tested again.
Officials time here. I think the chain is tangled on the far side, so they are working on important stuff, getting the chain undone. When you talk about Byron Leftwich and his gaudy numbers, here's what he did in the second half of that 2001 GMAC Bowl win over East Carolina, down 38-8, including overtime, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, as the Thundering Herd came back to win one of the best bowl games ever.
Great game. Bobby Pruitt has told us, remember, that he's had some great quarterbacks and been around one, including Danny Werfel, and he thinks, even better than Chad Pennington, that Byron Leftwich is the best quarterback he's ever coached.
And people need to realize, we keep talking about his poise, because I think that's one of the things that makes him so good. That and his dedication to the game. He learned that from Chad Pennington. He studies film. He talks to the coaches. He's a student of the game.
When we talk about Chad Pennington, who's now at the New York Jets awaiting his turn. Vinny Testaverde keeps playing so well. Chad hasn't been able to get in there. But when Pennington was leaving his last couple of years, this young man was around, eyes and ears wide open, and he was a sponge, a great, gifted player. But in those 2 years, when he wasn't playing, he became a very cerebral quarterback. And Kirk, this isn't an athlete playing quarterback. This is a quarterback that's a great athlete.
Sometimes you see a big, imposing athlete who's able to go back there and play the quarterback position and just think he has physical ability. His greatest strength might be his mind as a quarterback.
Flag down. Brandon Carey a yard shy of the first down, but we'll check the hanky. A Hokie hanky.
The thing that's funny about the Heisman Trophy, there's so many things that go into it. How many games you win, what conference you play in. For Byron Leftwich playing at Marshall, just like when Randy Moss or Chad Pennington were there, if they had great years, to get invited to New York City for a player from the MAC is almost like winning it. For him to realistically have a chance at winning it, he needs to win this game. He needs to bring his team back tonight and beat Virginia Tech. If he loses tonight and he wins the rest of his games, I promise you he'll be invited to New York City, but he's not going to win the trophy. His trophy will be next April at the draft.
Introduced by Berman. Shake hands and tag.
In the first pick.
Put on that baseball hat.
He'll look good. He'll look good.
Nice suit.
Yeah.
The Bengals will love him. It's that first pick.
Bengals Lions. Pillow. Second and 2. Leftwich almost got hit, but a great adjustment by Jim Davis to get to the running back and bring him down for a loss.
Was that my man?
That's your guy.
Okay, because you talked about your man. I'd like to talk about my man.
All right.
This guy, 6'3", 265. He had 3 sacks against LSU, and Bud Foster said to us, period, he's the best football player on a very good defensive team. That says it all.
Last couple years, he's been a very good football player. Now, he's more dedicated. He's working harder in practice. He's becoming a more complete player. And with a DB on one side and Davis on the other, talking about 2 really good DNs for Virginia Tech.
Marshall having communication problems, sidelines a quarterback, taking a timeout. It's second. Step out as well. Inside of 7 minutes. Virginia Tech on top by 20. Trying to figure it out. Down 20 in a loud place.
ESPN College Football Thursday night. Presented by Circuit City. Brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinkin' Busch Light.
Virginia Tech has won 18 of its last 20 home games. In a very good stead to make it 19 out of 21. After the timeout because of communication problems with the sideline, 3rd and 7. Only rushing 4, 7 in coverage. Beautiful pass by Leftwich. A first down at the 34 to Darius Watts out of College Park, Georgia. 25 yards there.
I've been all over Darius Watts for coming back to the ball, making the catch. Doc talked about his shoulder, but here, let's give him a lot of credit because the ball was thrown to the inside. Look at the adjustment by Watts to come back to the football and cut underneath of Ronyell Whitaker. Great play there by Watts.
Remember, Ronyell Whitaker did not play in the first 2 ball games. It's his first back one. I like this strategy. Go after a guy that hasn't played, even though he's a senior.
Whitaker suspended for undisclosed reasons. starting lineup tonight. They put it in the hands of Watts. Avoids the hit. It took a late shot from D'Angelo Hall, who is very lucky that there wasn't a flag there for a late hit. Jerry Punch on the sideline.
Guys, a moment ago during the timeout, a lot of frustration for Byron Leftwich. Hey, very concerned. He came to the sideline, talked to his head coach, Bobby Pruitt, talked to Ernie Pernsley to the right there with the headset on, the running backs coach. Byron very frustrated about not getting the play in quick enough. Now, finally, Pernsley puts the headset on Leftwich and lets him talk to Larry Keck upstairs, the quarterback coach, and I got to feel their pain. They're trying to discern. You can't call plays very quickly against this very tough Virginia Tech defense.
This time to Brandon Carey, who took a shot at the 25 from Mike Daniels, the guy who got the start, sophomore linebacker.
One of the reasons that's really important, what Doc just reported, is that for the offense that Marshall runs, they like to get the play in as soon as possible, get to the line of scrimmage, and give Byron Leftwich a chance to look over the defense. They give him a lot at the line of scrimmage, and he wants to have an opportunity to look into the defense and then make the call that he feels is appropriate against the defense that he is seeing. They give him a lot of freedom at the line.
Whitaker hurt for Tech, Watts hurt for Marshall, both on the sideline. 3rd and a yard. Leftwich just keeps it himself. Goes right over where Shulo, the best offensive lineman they have, and Luke Sammons, the 300-pounder, live, and picks up the first down. Behind 75 and 78.
He almost looked like Pee-wee football, the guy, that big 7th grader is just huge.
Remember, they used to have Fat Albert. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Just look out.
The biggest kid in the neighborhood. Fat Albert was always a quarterback. My neighborhood, anyhow.
Can't bring him down.
Bill Cosby, too.
I can't think of many good quarterbacks named Albert other than Fat Albert. 1st and 10 from the 22. Underneath route with Josh Davis, the slot receiver. At the 17, you don't get much forward momentum when you go against Tech. Their defense hits so hard. Our college football Saturday here on ESPN. After college game day starts at the ACC. Greg Gathers and Georgia Tech visiting Clemson. And then in prime time at 7:45 Eastern, Chris Ricks in Florida State take on Maryland. Primetime game is college football presented by the United States Postal Service. An ACC double dip on ESPN on Saturday. Statman Marty Aronoff reminds us of the great Stanford All-America Frankie out. Leftwich throws. Incomplete. Good battle with Denaro Marriott and Vincent Fuller. Fuller is a very good cornerback who was the starter when Whitaker was suspended for the first 2 games.
Now, boy, a terrific play by Fuller, as we talked about, 6'1", 184. But the best thing about this play was the pass. Kirk, this was right in the perfect place. If he didn't make that great defensive play, it would have been a touchdown.
Good play by Fuller. Fuller was a safety before Whitaker got suspended, and they moved him. What a play. That's great instincts by Fuller to come back and find it.
What a pass. Right on the spot.
Watts is back in the game. Darius will be at the top of the street. 5 for the first down. They're giving Leftwich time. Good coverage. How to get rid of it. Good defensive pass rush by Virginia Tech. 4th down, down 20. A field goal kicker whose foot's been bothering him, hasn't kicked all week. They will go for it.
Have to go for it here.
I think if you're going to go for it, then you call a different play on 4th and 5. Or 3rd and 5, excuse me. We'll let you listen to the Hokie fans for 4th and 5. Play made by Tim Sandage. Byron Leftwich is 11 of 21 for 151 yards and 1 interception thus far. About 5 drops. Good defense by Virginia Tech on 3rd and 4th down. They'll turn the ball over, and Kevin Jones, the sophomore, sits as Lee Suggs is in the game at tailback. For Virginia Tech, leading 20-0. They've thrown 5 passes on their 25 offensive plays. Suggs left side gets it out to the 23. It's a 5-yard pickup. Number 9 taking on number 17, one of 5 matchups of top 25 teams in the ESPN USA Today coaches poll this week. Virginia Tech has forced Marshall into some early mistakes. Blocked field goal there that did not go for a touchdown, and then Byron Leftwich's interception, part of the turnovers, have led to Kevin Jones having a solid rushing day, 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now Lee Suggs is adding to his stats. He gets 5 hard yards and will be just on the yellow line, so it'll depend on the spot to see if he made a first down.
For a speed back, Lee Suggs squares his shoulders and gets you some tough yards. I mean, I know right now the offensive line's opening up some holes, but throughout Lee Suggs' career, he's a tough runner considering how much speed he has. And I don't know what the streak is now coming into the game. He didn't have a fumble in 313 carries, only 1 fumble in his entire career at Virginia Tech.
Going to add 9 carries to that tonight, so it's 322 carries with 1 fumble. Fumbled on his 14th snap carry as a Virginia Tech player against Rutgers. Hasn't put it on the ground since. Suggs tore his ACL the first game of last year in the 3rd quarter against Connecticut. It was early enough in the season he was able to get back and rehab, so he took part in drills this spring. And there was a dilemma because Kevin Jones came in, was the Big East Rookie of the Year, had nearly 1,000 yards, and both guys had to buy in to tailback sharing, and they have, and it's working.
All right, it's less than a yard. What do you think?
This is your call here.
This is Frank Beamer's an old-timer. Quarterback sneak over the right guard, Luke Owens.
He's a Thursday night football fan too, so you might be on to this one.
Went to the left side.
And picks up the first down. There's Luke, disappointed that his number wasn't called out of Grundy, Virginia. One thing about Virginia Tech, as with all successful programs that have turned it around to be elite programs, starts with the recruiting. Side by side must be the weight room as well. And they do a phenomenal job in strength and conditioning here at Virginia Tech. From the 29, a throw. Covered left, comes back right. Ball on the ground after Richard Johnson dropped it, and it's ruled an incomplete pass. Johnson, the sophomore, couldn't hang on. We mentioned a lot of good games this weekend in college football. Here's the ABC lineup. 3:30 Eastern, split the country 3 ways. Washington State, Ohio State, where Chris Lee and Kirk will be for game day. Southern California goes to Boulder. Eli Manning and Ole Miss visit Texas Tech. And then in prime time, most of you will see Nebraska's trip to Happy Valley. Some of you will see Mac Brown, Chris Sims, and Texas take on North Carolina on ABC Sports. Of course, all those games available on the ESPN game plan as well. Mac Brown goes back to the football complex that Mac built. Suggs keeping his feet. What turned into what was a loss turns into a gain out to the 33-yard line. Pick up a 4, less than 3 minutes before halftime, and that means Chris Fowler. Chris?
Yeah, Mike, coming up at halftime, we'll have an update on Eric Crouch's abrupt decision to retire. Trev and Mark will join me. We'll break down those yardstick games of the Horseshoe and Happy Valley and other places, and an outstanding edition of Hidden Video featuring perhaps the most versatile player in college football at the half.
Oh,
serious tease there.
We might keep Corso in the booth for that.
Forget about it.
Not a chance. Cookies.
3rd and 6. High throw for Wilford and incomplete. Everything we knew about Virginia Tech, we still know. Their defense is very good. They run it very well. But if they have to throw it to win, still a question about this team.
Yep.
Assuming Brian Randall, the option quarterback, is under center. If Grant Knoll comes back, he gives them a much better chance to throw the football. You lose the athletic ability, but you gain a guy who can throw the ball.
First punt for Vinnie Burns, a left footer. Josh Davis waits. Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. Oh. That's always dangerous against anybody.
Yes.
That's really dangerous against Virginia Tech. Bobby Pruitt's team doesn't turn it over. 50-yard kick, no return. Long field for Byron Leftwich when we come back to Blacksburg. Modeling some of the fine fall fashion available. Didn't really see that on any of the runways of Paris, or that outfit for that matter, but whatever makes you a Hokie fan. 20-0, 2-minute no huddle for Virginia Tech. Josh Davis working hard to get out to the 26-yard line inside 2 minutes. Good corners for Virginia Tech, and Whitaker, Fuller, and Hall. Darnell Wiles, their fourth corner, is very good.
I'm on a second guess now, but I'm first guessing. This is very dangerous in this environment, trying to get a 2-minute drill to score with 20-0. Telling you.
Leftwich works away from trouble. Deflected by D'Angelo Hall. Is that why you're talking, Lee, the likelihood of a turnover
here?
Yeah,
because the environment is all perfect for them. They got a minute and 30 seconds. They're dropping back, Kirk. They're losing 20-0. I'd say if I was Pruitt, I would go in 20-0.
Okay.
And say, okay, look, we got a chance, you guys.
But let me, in a normal situation, I would agree with you. But in this case, I disagree. Minute 31, just for the Marshall offense, this is kind of their bread and butter. This is what they're known for, is being able to attack quickly. I know what you're saying because we've been here a lot of times. But this is, if they're going to be competitive in this game, they've got to attack. Go score points.
But there's still a second half.
I know, but how about 20-7? You got to be confident.
3rd and 1, Leftwich.
All right.
Loading up. First down to the 40-yard line.
Go, get it.
Josh Davis, the sophomore, out of Hickory Grove over there in South Carolina.
That's why he's a Heisman candidate.
That's right.
Get those receivers and go. Get him on the line. Minute and a half.
You got plenty of time.
Get the play call. Let's go.
4 receivers. Running back Wallace, priority 1, stop a blitz. Priority 2, get out there. There's a safety valve.
Here we come.
Look out. Out of bounds.
I mean, they're coming.
33-yard line. Couldn't keep his balance.
I told you they just should throw the ball some more.
Well, the receivers have stepped it up here in the second quarter.
Darius Watts, he almost looks like a different player. Maybe he's been able to adjust to the game speed. Here, it's not a real complex route. He just runs downfield. Ball's there. When he turns around, he's just got to catch it. He's hurting, though. Got to be on him in half.
He's looked to be gassed a few times as well. As it played, as Jerry mentioned, in competitive situations, so getting that game breathing back as well. Play clock running down. Leftwich has it under control. Here come the Hokies. That means try for the end zone. Fuller, step for step with Curtis Jones. When we watch the LSU tape, every time an LSU pass was thrown at number 8, he was step for step with his guy.
That's the thing that I think you expect to see from Virginia Tech, but not from a safety that gets moved to corner. Right. How many teams in college football have a suspension and you got to move a guy and you move a safety and he's able to run with the receivers and man coverage?
I think Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, should get all the credit here. I think he's one of the best in the nation of taking his players and doing what they do best.
I agree.
I'd hire him as a head coach in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
A heartbeat.
He's the next guy somewhere.
The right place. From the 34, Leftwich. On by Davis, 2 yards to the 32. Michael Crawford, the rover, made that play. Marshall has 1 timeout remaining as we're inside of a minute. And they face 3rd and 6. Kicker warming up over there.
For what?
Head. Might get a 48-yard field goal attempt.
Should they still sit on it?
Not now. I told you.
There you go. Okay. All right.
Watts will be up at the top of your screen. A lot of time go here. You got to be careful, but you do have to be in a hurry. They only rushed 4. They showed a lot more, but 4 was almost enough. Correction, 4 was enough. Nathaniel Adibi. They should let this run down to 2 seconds or so and call their timeout. They did. They stop it at 11 seconds. Marshall should have let it run down to a couple of seconds, so they had one play to throw it to the end zone and not give Virginia Tech the ball with one snap left. And that's what Pruitt's mentioning to Leftwich right there.
Yeah, but what it's Virginia Tech? They're going to run the off tackle anyhow.
Exactly.
They're not going to.
Brian Randall's not going to throw it all the way to the end zone.
Championships are not won in bowl games.
In 10 quarters of football, Virginia Tech has allowed 15 points this year. They have allowed 0 points in the first half. And I know you're going to say, well, they played Arkansas State in the first game, and they played at home. They played LSU and Marshall, two ranked teams, in the last 2 games.
I mean, they beat a good LSU football team.
16 for the first down. Nice championship pick. It's early, though.
Got a Mully. Could be all right.
Leftwich steps up in the pocket for Marion. Incomplete. D'Angelo Hall was taken off after the ball. So Virginia Tech will take over on downs for the second time tonight. They're at their own 40 with 4 seconds to go. The sack really hurt him on that drive.
Took him back and put him in 4th and long. Gives you an idea of the strength of defensive end Nathaniel Adebe. Bottom of the screen, working hard on Shulo, pushing through, not giving up. But keep in mind, Leftwich is, what is he, 6'6", 250 pounds?
Yeah.
And Adebe just body slammed him straight down.
And Adebe beat a good football player in that Steve Shulo. He'll be playing in the National Football League next year. He's a good player.
College Game Day halftime report is coming up. Brian Randall takes a knee and takes it into the locker room. Stats are misleading. Marshall 223 yards. Virginia Tech 181 yards. 20-0 Hokies on top at the half. Here's Jerry.
Coach, at times you move the ball in spurts, but turnovers and special teams have hurt you. Where do you look at halftime? What do you say to your kids?
Well, we've dropped 2 touchdown passes. 40 had one, 82 had one in the end zone. So if we do that, we're in it. We just got to start making plays. That's it. We're just not making plays. We got a little out of sync there, but I think we can move the ball on. So I think they'll try. Defensively, we've got to stop the run a little bit better. We'll be okay.
If you use the halftime speech, you use that in Mobile, we're going to have a heck of a second half.
Well, we'll play better.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Mike?
Okay, Jerry, Bobby Pruitt on into the locker room. Byron Leftwich, guys, 15 of 28, 202 yards, 5 drops, 1 interception, 2 sacks. Mr. Fowler.
Well, at least Coach Pruitt didn't name, Darius Watts and Josh Davis, the 2 guys that dropped the touchdown passes. Very clear that number 7 cannot catch, cannot tackle, cannot block, and cannot kick. And those are all deficient areas for the herd in the first half. We got a lot coming up at halftime. Trev will relay a conversation with his friend, Eric Crouch, who announced his...
Virginia Tech gets the ball to start the second half in front of 65,049 fans. Hokies lead 20-0. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Well, second half, if Marshall can stop Tech and score, that's the only way they're going to be in the game.
From a coach's standpoint, I think the first 6 minutes is very important. Just try to take the crowd out of it. But I think Virginia Tech went into the dressing room and said, I don't care if they put 17 guys up front. Let's run the football because they can't throw the ball effectively.
Well, they made that adjustment in the second series. For Marshall to get back in the game, they've got to stop them right now on this drive. Get the ball back to Byron Leftwich and try to put some points on the board. It has to happen right away in this half.
Got a number for you on Tech. Byron Leftwich's solid 202 yards on offense means Marshall has more yards than Virginia Tech. All but 33 of the Virginia Tech yards have come on runs by Kevin Jones and Lee Suggs. It's enough against most teams, won't be enough against the best teams in the country. Deep kickoff, touchback, they'll take it from the 20, and here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Coach, impressive first half for the Hokies, but you face a team that's had some very good second halves, including their bowl game a year ago. What did you say to your young players in the locker room?
Just what you just said right there. I just talked to them about that. And they're a good football team. They throw the ball very well. What we do right here starting the second half is going to really set the tone for the second half.
Young quarterback, not doing a bad job in his first start.
Well, he's not. Where they're one-on-one outside, and we got to make them pay for that here before the day's over. I hope we can do that, but he's doing a good job.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Jerry mentioned Brian Randall's first start. Young man was born in the state of West Virginia, Charleston. Lee Suggs' carry is 3 to the 23, brought down by Orlando Washington. Brian Randall is the starting quarterback now, and if he proves it, perhaps for the immediate future at Virginia Tech. Grant Knoll, a fifth-year senior, started the opening 2 games. He injured his knee back at the end of spring practice last year. Chose not to have the major ACL repair surgery because it would have meant his career would have been done. Playing through the pain, able to play against Appalachian State, 2 series against LSU, but then too much pain. Randall gives them this wiggle out of the quarterback position, the ability to run and get it out to the 34-yard line for a first down. Pick up the 12, and guys, let's all together take a look at the halftime numbers. Numbers tell you Marshall moved the ball, but the misplays, that one field goal was not a blocked field goal technically because it hit a Marshall player first, but the missed field goal, the interception and the fumble, gave Tech the ball in a short field.
Miscues by Marshall in the offense. They had some opportunities. They weren't able to capitalize, and as a result, they're down by 20 here on the road.
From the 34, a Randall throw. A long Randall throw. Outstanding Ernest Wilford catch at the 28-yard line. 38 yards on the passing catch. That's what they need to see from 14.
Well, there's a reason this play was called by Coach Steinspring, other than just trying to get a completion. It's to stretch the defense and make them appreciate the deep ball, to try to get them to back off so they can run the ball. The ball was thrown pretty well, but the adjustment by Wilford was sensational.
And remember, Wilford was a triple jump star in track, so that's why he's got that good leaping ability. And he's 6'4".
A run with Suggs, not going to go anywhere. People might remember Ernest Wilford as the guy who dropped the 2-point conversion against Miami that could have tied their battle with the eventual national champions here last year. Well, Spike Lee came on campus last year and mentioned the play. Spike Lee's a huge sports fan, and he said, "Is that guy here?" And Ernest Wilford stood up and said, "I'm right here." And the fans who were there at the Spike Lee concert, quote unquote, just chat really, talk, booed Spike Lee. And rightfully so. Yeah. And it gave Ernest Wilford a lot of show of respect from the student body that they forgave him. No one took it harder than Ernest Wilford. He didn't need Spike Lee rolling into town, making fun of him and checking out. Doug Eastlick's carry to the 24-yard line.
So you had me thinking Spike Lee was going to have him stand up and say, "Hey, it's all right, buddy, keep working."
That's what I thought was going to happen, too, when I read the story.
I was waiting for the punchline there, but I guess that didn't happen.
Spike did not do the right thing in that instance.
Speaking of the right thing, this Ernest Wilford, I think, and I talked to him yesterday in our meeting, he's 6'4", 217, he's got great speed. He was one of the best-looking football players physically I saw 2 years ago as a freshman. He needs to play big because he could be an NFL player, Kirk. That kid's got NFL ability.
Yep, and for their offense to go to the place where it needs to be this year, he needs to help their passing game.
3rd and a long 5. Late throw. Terrence Tarpley looking at a lot of green space in front of him. Jerry?
And you guys mentioned Ernest Wilford. I talked to him yesterday when we sat down to chat a little bit. He talked about he has that videotape in his room of him dropping that 2-point conversion against Miami. He plays it often because it reminds him of what can happen if you don't focus, you don't concentrate. He even brings young receivers in and lets them see, try to help them learn so they don't make the same kind of mistakes he did. He said it's his motivation, that 2-point drop.
Carter Worley, 40-yard field goal. The big pass play to Wilford got him down here. Nope. Missed it. Unable to convert on the 3rd 40-plus yard field goal. Wilford made the good catch and didn't convert. The footnote on the story, Spike Lee did ask Wilford to come backstage and beat him afterwards. Too late, Spike. What it had to do defensively. Got Virginia Tech off the field with no points on the board. Now Byron Leftwich back at it. A rare one run tonight for Franklin Wallace. And Butchie, as he's known, takes it out to the 27, pick up a 4. Wallace in the first half ran for just a dozen yards. Brandon Carey ran for 17. See everybody checking out their wristbands, which the receivers have on their waistband. It's a on-the-run offense that is tough for many teams to hang with. Second and 6 for Leftwich. It is short for Darius Watson, incomplete. Well, Marshall is trying to harken back and lean on what Frank Beamer talked about at halftime. The GMAC Bowl in Mobile, Alabama against East Carolina. The huge halftime deficit and the final drive. After getting Marshall back into a game, they were down 30. Leftwich strikes down the field. Big chunks of yards. 18, 27, 23 yards to get in position for the touchdown to Watson. Squared the game at 51, and then in overtime, double overtime, the game-winning touchdown caught by Josh Davis. 576 yards for Leftwich. Marshall winning 64-61 over East Carolina. It's an offense built for comebacks. Underneath and drop by the tight end, Jason Rader, who would have had a first down if he would have hung on. But it's punting time for Marshall. Well, the early half theme continues early second half.
It's about time for the old Virginia Tech guy to turn him loose and either block it, but I think they'll try to return it.
Curtis Head is really getting rid of it quick. And a tough spot to return it as well. D'Angelo Hall went after it. And it's down at the 15-yard line. Very well done. 58-yard punt with no return. College Football Saturday on ESPN. ACC game, Georgia Tech off the win over Connecticut takes on Clemson at noon Eastern. And College Football Saturday presented by the United States Postal Service. Chris Ricks and the Seminoles take on the reigning ACC champion Maryland Terrapins. Greg Jones helping Ricks. Good 6.7-yard per carry average so far. We'll see Florida State in a couple of weeks on Thursday night when they go to Louisville. They've got Maryland in prime time on Saturday night here on ESPN. Kevin Jones puts his head down. Picked up about 4 yards. Durant Smith out of Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, made the tackle.
You've been waiting to say that.
I want to go there. I want to meet the mayor of Soddy Daisy. That's a good sounding place.
Kirk, you were talking about that. Look at here. I mean, there's
got them all
up there. 10. Now they're going to try to run the ball anyhow. But I'm telling you, if they don't get a passing game going pretty soon, they're not going to beat Texas A&M 2 weeks from now. They might beat these guys.
There are teams on their schedule that are physical enough to match up against their running game.
Jones trying to bounce it outside, then ducks back to the inside. Gets first down yardage out at the 29. Kevin Jones would be a feature back most other places. He's now over 100 yards, 102 on the night.
This drive reminds me of the second drive that Virginia Tech had. After they came out, remember the first opening drive, they got cute, they were throwing the ball. Second drive, they went back to 2 tight ends and just ran the isolation, just ran it right up the middle every single time and went right down the field in 9 plays and 90 yards. Here they come. 2 tight ends, 1 receiver. See if they're just going to keep continuing to ram Marshall's defense.
I think they got to add Brian Randall as a runner, number 14. Excuse me.
Number 3, the quarterback. Put it in the belly of the fullback, Eastland, who is not going to get away like Jones and Suggs can. Durant Smith made the tackle. That's a loss for the fullback. Mostly it's going to be in the hands of 7 and 22. Suggs and Jones, nicknamed the Untouchables by virtue of an internet poll. More than 4,000 people on the internet were given their opinions as Virginia Tech asked for a nickname for their dynamic duo of backs, and they have been tough. A Virginia Tech player is shaken up, thus the delay. So while they check out the injured Hokie, who I believe is their right guard Luke Owens there, will step out from Blacksburg.
ESPN College Football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City. Brought to you by Lee Dungarees and Buddy Lee. Can't bust 'em.
Injured Virginia Tech right guard Luke Owens walked off gingerly, but was putting weight on both legs. A very encouraging sight for the fans here at Lane Stadium. 2nd and 13 for the Hokies, leading 20-0 over Marshall. Randall's throw is complete to Ernest Wilford again. 2nd connection of the night. And it'll bring up the half, I should say. It'll bring up third and a couple.
Mike, you and Kirk, I want to talk to you about one thing. Watching the LSU game, when Randall come into the ball game, he did a lot better, Kirk, on bootlegs and rollouts than he did the drop back pass. They might want to consider doing more of that like they just did there.
His strength is his athletic ability. He's much more comfortable getting out of the corner and throwing on the run.
Just a sophomore, this is his first career start. Jones put it on the ground and then got it back at the 40-yard line. They have the yardage for the first down. We saw a shot at Grant Knoll, who got the start against LSU. Knoll had surgery to kind of clean out the problems in his knee right after that LSU game. He is available to play tonight, but in all likelihood will not. That would be the best course for Virginia Tech. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out down the line. He's the fifth-year senior. He's the experienced guy. And as you see from the numbers, threw it very well last year in a good season for Tech.
He had the unenviable task of filling the shoes of Michael Vick. And I think a lot of people saw him and thought, oh, no, they're going to lose a lot. And they did, of course, because Michael Vick is so special. But I thought Grant Knoll, as the whole year went on, played pretty well as a first-time starting quarterback. And his message to the Hokie fans is, you haven't seen the last of me yet. So he feels that by the time this season is over, he'll be back on the field playing. And if his knee holds up, look at this offense, they can run the ball. Yep. But they need to be able to throw. And I think Grant Knoll gives them that ability. And Brian Randall gives them the ability to run the option.
We've seen good teams play a couple of quarterbacks in certain spots and worked out just fine. Run with Suggs up the middle. Just kind of deliver the blow out to the 47. Third and a long three coming up, Jerry.
Guys, you mentioned Grant Knoll. You know, he tore his ACL, or partially tore the ACL, back on April 17th. They didn't originally scope him thinking it was completely torn, and they wanted to rehab him to give him a chance to play this year, because if they went ahead and did an operation, he wouldn't be back until the middle or two-thirds of the season. Now, 9 days ago, they went in the scope, even found out that the anterior cruciate ligament was only partially torn. They cleaned out the meniscus and part of the debris, and he's got some swelling, but he could be available tonight, but will be better off in about a week and a half.
That's why we'll probably see Randall, and also this reason. He can run the option on 3rd and 3 and take it into the secondary. First down at the 36-yard line.
Keep talking about the added dimension that he gives this offense. 3rd and 3, Marshall put everybody at the line, played man coverage, and when you have a quarterback who can make the first guy miss, there's nobody left. And this is just natural athletic ability, cutting back and finding some open space. Right there, probably would have liked to pitch it, but because he was able to cut underneath, look at all the space. Cut back against the grain. There's always big yards there for option quarterbacks.
Virginia Tech over 200 rushing yards tonight. Eastlick, the fullback, picking him up and putting him down to the 20-yard line and the 19-yard line now. First down for Doug Eastlick.
Now, Doug Eastlick, but the reason why this play goes, you guys, is they're starting to look like they're going to the outside, but then they hand the ball to big Eastlick, and he cuts it back. One of the things you do is Virginia Tech's in 2 tight end. Kirk, the reason they're in 2 tight end is to balance the defense across, and then they could just give the ball to the big fullback.
You're exactly right. They're flowing to the outside.
Yep.
You get it into the inside. And how about Wilford selling out as a big receiver, opening up some more space for Eastlick to run?
Suggs, 15, and the 10. Pick up with 9. 2nd and 1. They can come at you with so many different weapons offensively on the ground, making it a long night for a talented safety like Chris Crocker and the rest of the Thundering Herd.
Doc just mentioned an ACL injury, and it's just amazing to watch Lee Suggs run. You know, after the ACL last year, working the rehab, and he's such a tough runner before the injury. He's come back. We've seen in these first 3 games this year, he's not lost a step, not only with his speed, but his power, which is what makes him a special back.
And he loves to run near the goal line.
He loves those
touchdowns.
Suggs, 15 straight games with a rushing touchdown. Gets it to the 6. That will be enough for a first down. It will be 1st and goal for Virginia Tech in that spectacular season that he had in 2000 when Lee Suggs was an All-America and led 1A in scoring with 28 touchdowns. 21 of those touchdowns came from the 7 and in. It was 28 total, 1 receiving, 27 rushing. 21 of the 27 came from the 7-yard line and in.
Yes, loves that goal line. The reason why he's so good down there, Kirk, as we both saw, he's good body lean. Yeah. He's got that nice body lean. He's moving forward.
And also, you can see him kind of pick his spots. His vision enables him to find the hole.
Suggs on it down to the 3. We'll be coming up to play 13 of the drive. The first 12, 11 runs, 1 pass to Wilford.
And the thing that's going to help Lee Suggs at the next level, not only his ability to run the football, his hands. He's almost like a receiver coming out of the backfield. He can catch the football, so he's pretty much the total package in the backfield, and he likes to block.
Yep. The problem he has is he has no one to throw it to him.
But in this offense, forget about it. It's the next level.
I know.
Have to give credit to the Marshall defense, guys like Duran, Smith, Jameis Martin. Play 13 of the drive, 12 runs. You're being physically dominated, but you got to answer the bell every time the ball is snapped.
Now they got him set up perfectly for the option.
Seemed like a half hour ago we talked about it. Here comes one of those. Yeah. They've just been coming downfield. Yeah, you're right. The option to the outside. Everybody's clogged inside.
I like give it to Suggs inside. Get him 16 straight games with a touchdown. Option. Randall can't get there.
Pitch
down at the 1-yard line.
Pitch the ball. Lee Suggs walks into the end zone.
Lee Suggs is going right over the right guard for a touchdown in this one.
Well, they are going to go for it. They'll bring in Josh Spence, another fullback. The jumbo guys in there and have at it on 4th and goal from 1.5 yards out.
Now, if they have a play, and I'd recommend they put it in against Texas A&M, fake that Lee Suggs out of there and run that little boot. It's all over.
1 yard for a touchdown. Play 15 of the drive. Toss, Suggs, 6. Touchdown, Tech. Little morale thing too. Keep his consecutive games with a touchdown run going, even though he was a little tired. It is 26-0. By the book, you go for 2 here, and I think Virginia Tech is doing that just to get some practice going for 2 points. You might as well in a game situation here. Personnel confusion. Now Virginia Tech gets the right 11 in there as they bring their receivers back in. Suggs finding the end zone for the 16th consecutive game. Ends up with trips to the right. Randall looking for Sean Witten. Didn't get it. Open first, but then Randall had to move to find some room. It remains 26-0 after the 15-play, 85-yard drive.
I think this is going to be a typical drive for Virginia Tech the rest next year. Number 22, Lee Suggs off the left side. Number 22, Lee Suggs off the right side. And number 26, number 22, Lee Suggs.
End zone added here in Blacksburg at Lane Stadium, 11,000 seats, and some pretty sweet suites as well. New suites added where the fans can watch the games from in there. I see myself on TV. Those guys do not, or else they would have. That's off. Brandon Carey's going to take a knee from 1 yard inside the goal line there.
Good thinking.
To hear the wrath of the Hokie fans. You like that drive there, guys?
Yeah, it's the kind of drive that kind of puts the nail in the coffin. 15 plays and 85 yards, and of course at the bottom, 14 times they handed it off and just overpowered Marshall in their 8- and 9-man fronts.
Well, I want to tell those Virginia Tech fans that are listening, if you go down to College Station and Texas A&M is on defense, you ain't going to do that.
No.
I'm telling you right now.
No. This crowd will be exactly the same, but on the other side next week.
And when they put eight guys up there, they got 8 men.
First down inside run. Just getting back to the line of scrimmage is Brandon Carey.
It might be 6-3 next week. That game.
It was 14-12 against Pittsburgh on ESPN on Saturday, and it was not an offensive lover's game.
I'm going to predict 6-3 on that game.
It's 6-3.
I'm going 6-4.
A&M showed some offense in the second half. On the road at Pittsburgh. Second and 10 for Byron Leftwich, senior out of Washington, D.C. Pass is incomplete. That last drive.
These are the kind of drives that not only consume a lot of time, they just wear you down. Marshall's trying to get back into this ball game, trying to come up with a big play, and Virginia Tech continued to hand the football off and hand the football off. Lee Suggs, Eastlick, the fullback, back to Lee Suggs. He works his way down inside the 5-yard line and finally pounds his way into the end zone. And that deflates a team more than anything else when you go 85 yards and 14 of them on the ground.
Third and 10. Tech coming. Leftwich got rid of it. The hot receiver was Curtis Jones, but he's shy of the first down on a nice play by Willie Pyle, the free safety out of Alexandria, Virginia. He is the lone senior on this starting defense, the unquestioned leader of Bud Foster's defense, a 3-year starter.
I love Willie Pyle as a player, one of the best free safeties in the country. You know what? We haven't called his name tonight because this isn't his kind of game. Next week, he'll have some fun against Texas A&M when he gets to have a chance to come downhill and light somebody up. Tonight, it's all about the pass.
Marshall has done a very good job of making Virginia Tech's kick blocking a non-factor. Look out for D'Angelo Hall, who is excitement with the ball in his hands. Wrapped up with 3 flags down, now 4. We had at least 1 push in the back, and we'll check what the other flags are as Hall is brought down at about the 41-yard line. Tap in there. Been involved a couple of times in some flags tonight. Well, those of you just tuning over to get a peek at Byron Leftwich, the Marshall star senior quarterback. He played pretty well in the first half. He has been quiet here in the second half, but Virginia Tech's stifling defense, its dominating run game, and the atmosphere of Lane Stadium have been far too much for a Marshall team that probably isn't as good as the number 17 ranking in the country. Early season against their competition in the Mid-American Conference, they'll be okay as the season goes on, but stepping out of the league to play probably a legit top 15, top 10 team in Virginia Tech. They're just overmatched here tonight. Jones, gain of 6. Run out of the words to say, or ways to say handoff. Flag is down, perhaps a late one on Marshall. Here's the ESPN game track for you. We're talking about that Tech defense. Marshall's got no run game, and they've frustrated Leftwich when Marshall's gotten into scoring opportunities. And Jones and Suggs, you guys travel the country right up there with tandems of running backs. Fair to say?
Absolutely.
Very fair to say. It's still early in the year. We saw Miami last week with, of course, Willis McGahee and Jason Gathers, who's been moved. And they don't even have Frank Gore back. So Miami could make a pretty strong case, but these two are pretty special.
From the teams I've seen, Virginia Tech is a top 5 team nationally on defense and maybe in the top 25 offensively and top 10 kicking.
Yeah.
That's my
well, they don't have enough balance on offense.
No, they
need more of a passing game to get up.
Get up to the top teams in the country.
Sean Witten in motion. Give to Jones. About a yard or so. And this is a tough spot because if you're Frank Beamer, you are up 26-0. You're in great shape, and you'd really like to work on your passing game. But you don't want to rub it in. But you look at their pass run selection, just some quick adding. They've run it 137 times this year and thrown it 42. It's a 3-to-1 rate, 3.5-to-1 ratio.
They're going to keep running, too, so that'll go up to 4 by the end of the night.
Thanks. Wait for me to figure out the 3.5 on the fly, and you get it up to 4.
I'll give you 4.
That's nice. Thanks. 2nd and 8. Second fullback came in the game. Former tailback Cedric Humes out of Virginia Beach. He might even move back to tailback next year after Suggs graduates. It'll be 3rd and 6, or 3rd and 9, excuse me, when we start the 4th quarter. A very quick 3rd quarter. I guess that's what happens when you throw it twice in the quarter and you keep the ball for most of the quarter, as Virginia Tech did. Nary a sniff of offense for the Thundering Herd. Tech up 26. I guess that would be this man's version of the Hokie Pokey. Virginia Tech Hokies leading 26-0.
Oh.
Maybe he's a dance team alumni or something.
None.
Didn't you have a band alumni day in Columbus this past week? Randall throws complete to Sean Witten. First down, knocked out at the 35. 16-yard pickup. Confidence building in the passing game there. Witten has the best hands on this team. Back from a broken leg last year.
Talking a lot about Brian Randall, Grant Knoll. Brian Randall in the LSU game that Lee talked about, just being out on the field against a quality opponent, he gained a lot of confidence. You know, he's been working hard to one day be the starting quarterback for Virginia Tech, but all the work in practice doesn't come close to that game experience that he received against Nick Saban's bunch here 10 days ago.
And play action pass. Get him some confidence throwing the ball. For Terrell Parham, incomplete. Senior out of Florida, Bartow, Florida. Parham couldn't pull it in. Good throw. Marshall had just 11 yards, 6 plays, and no first downs in the 3rd quarter. Been a long time since we've seen the Marshall offense like that, without able to get anything done at Marshall University Stadium. That kind of sent most of them out to town.
He's still hanging in there with the Herd.
That's good.
All right.
They're going to go get back in front of a good seat for Sports Center. Maybe stop at Bobby Pruitt's Steakhouse for dinner. Coach Pruitt has a really good steakhouse. We enjoyed our meal there when we went to Marshall a couple of years ago. Suggs to the 1-yard line. Almost had it. Give him 34 yards.
What a tough runner.
Roberto Terrell took the worst of it.
What a tough runner. Watch him break the tackles here.
A lot of credit has to go to the fullback, Doug Easley. Now, watch number 43. He leads the lead blocker, and he knocks that man down, and then it's all up to Suggs after that. You know, you can't run the football with those tailbacks without a fullback. And Doug Easley is really a good football player, number 43. Got nice size, 5'11", 235.
Well, both players now over 100 yards. Suggs 120, Jones 113. As they continue to check on the injured player. Timeout.
Express.
Now from Huntington to Blacksburg. Have watched a clinic on the run game from Suggs and Jones. They give one of the big fellas a touchdown down here from the 1. Eastlick in motion. Now they lead it for Suggs. That's how you score 27 in the season. Second touchdown of the night for the senior from Roanoke, Virginia. And 5 in the first 3 games. $32-0. As we said earlier, no disrespect to Marshall. It's just men against boys up front.
You know, Marshall has got a good football program. Bobby Pruitt there is playing the best teams. Let me give you a hint. 203, they play at Tennessee and at LSU. 2004, they play at Ohio State and at Georgia. Bobby is not afraid to take this Marshall football team on the road, play people, but he's not going to play at Tennessee, LSU, Ohio State, and Georgia and beat any of those football teams unless he can get a lot better recruits, and he's not going to get them because they're not going to go to Marshall. Well, not to beat those teams.
You got to get a better defense. When Marshall had their great teams with Chad Pennington, it wasn't just Chad Pennington. They had defenses that could play and that could run. And Byron Leftwich plays quarterback. He doesn't play defense. They need defense to play with the teams you're talking about. You admire him for scheduling these teams, but you don't just schedule them. You got to beat them. If you want to gain respect and you're trying to build a program up to gain respect nationally, just like BYU did a long time ago, you don't only schedule them, you have to beat those teams.
Right. John Mullerup's kickoff. The return, no, not returned by Wilbur Hargrove.
No. Good move.
Taking it out to 20. At least Suggs might see him in the NFL next year. Sunday Night Football after NFL prime time. Rich Gannon and the Raiders beat Seattle week 1. Cordell Stewart and the Steelers lose to New England on Monday night. Looks awful. I love the Shaft music too here, huh? You like that too?
I like the promo there.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Cordell wasn't grooving in New Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Intercepted on his first 2 series. Intercepted 3 times in the game. Sacked 5 times by the reigning world champion New England Patriots, but we'll see him try to bounce back in the home opener against the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Leftwich in there and loading up, complete to his tight end, Jason Rader. He's a transfer from Georgia. As Marshall gets into the meat of its conference season, Rader will be a good addition. Guy who had to take off last year as he transferred from Georgia. Of course, you think of Georgia and Marshall, the immediate name that comes to mind is Jim Donnan, who now works with us at ESPN, on ESPN News on the weekends. Jim was the head coach at Marshall and then moved to Georgia from Huntington. It's a first down out to the 40 for Curtis Jones. First down this half.
I think one of the challenges Marshall's going to have starting next week and moving throughout their season is they had a lot of aspirations about this game. They were convinced coming into this game that they were going to shock the country and win this game. There was no doubts about it in their mind that they were going to win this game. If they get shut out tonight, you got to wonder about picking up the pieces and still going on to have a great year, because I think they wanted to get into the mix with an undefeated year, and losing this game is going to hurt their psyche.
From the 42, it's Rader again. Another first down. This one to the 43-yard line. Billy Hardy in there for Virginia Tech. McCall McKee, middle backer in there also.
One of the most impressive things about Byron Leftwich to me is the fact that he goes back to his neighborhood in Watts Branch Community Center in Washington, D.C., and he wants to be a role model. He wants to be a hero to those kids. And to me, this man's an excellent football player. But you know what? I think he's even a better person off the field than he is on.
He has great football characteristics and terrific character as well. Pass is caught by Darius Watts to the 35-yard line. Dr. Jerry Punch.
You talk about Brian Leftwich's character. Last night I sat in the hotel room in Roanoke and talked with Brian, and I asked him, I said, what of all the things you've done at Marshall, what are you most proud of? I expected him to talk about a bowl win or a great touchdown pass. He said, you know, without hesitation, he said, I'm most proud of the fact that I am 3 credits away from graduating. In December, I will graduate, and I will give my mother something I never thought I'd ever be able to give her, a diploma from college. That that's what I am the most proud of my time here at Marshall. I didn't like a kid like that. What a great kid.
Special kid he is, Jerry. 2nd and 2. Got time to throw. Down to the 9-yard line. So they are not mailing it in here tonight. They are working it down the field nicely. That was Davis that time to get it down to the 9. Leftwich with a good performance tonight, or maybe later on this season if they go 9-2, 10 or 9-2 or 10-1, could join Randy Moss and Chad Pennington as Heisman finalists. The invitation to New York for a Marshall program that was a 1AA power in '96. They moved to 1A and might have 3 Heisman finalists in a 6-year span. Leftwich touchdown to Watts. Well, they're able to move down the field and put points on the board. Darius Watts catches his first touchdown on the season, and Leftwich a perfect 6 of 6 on that drive.
It's pretty quick. Bang, 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 and Leftwich has his team in the end zone. Quick slants, kind of a skinny post, gets behind coverage, and the ball, all 6 of the completions right on the money, and the receivers held on.
And what I like most about them, they're a tight spiral. They don't flutter. They go through.
That was not full-out second-team defense either. Virginia Tech had a bunch of people who have been on the field already tonight. Byron Leftwich showing some of the skills that may have him one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
ESPN College Football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City. We know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
Truly our pleasure to bring college football Thursday night presented by Circuit City back to Blacksburg. Great fans, wonderful hospitality, good weather, no thunderstorms in the area. Virginia Tech leading Marshall 33-7. Deep kickoff. Richard Johnson's going to test the waters and get pushed out of bounds at the 20-yard line. The nickname of the Tech running backs, the Untouchables.
They've had a big night tonight. Both backs over 100 yards. Kevin Jones has shown his great speed.
And one of the things I like about Lee Suggs is he runs behind his pad. See? He's got that pad forward, runs right over people.
Lee Suggs has picked up some tough yards and has found his way into the end zone twice as the Hokies have dominated this game on the ground.
See their numbers. Both over 100 yards here tonight. Virginia Tech is approaching a 7-yard per carry average. Put the hammer down. Good old style football. Jones bounces this one to the outside. And took nothing, perhaps a loss of yardage, and turned it into a 4-yard gain. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, when Kevin Jones was a senior in high school, he and D'Angelo Hall met here at Virginia Tech at a high school track meet. They decided at that time they were both being heavily recruited. They wanted to go to the same college. Well, they decided when D'Angelo narrowed it down to his final 3, it was Florida State, Michigan, and Virginia Tech. Kevin Jones told me his final decision was going to be Penn State. But when D'Angelo committed to Virginia Tech, he called him, and they both decided on that same night to become Hokies. That's one of Frank Beamer's favorite bedtime stories.
It's a good duo to get the same phone call, huh?
They were arguing yesterday, weren't they, about 40 times and who's the fastest?
Jones gets the first down as he turns the corner. It was funny. They sat with about 8 or 9 of the Virginia Tech players, and I look back down at my notes. Well, I didn't write anything, but I do know one thing. These guys really, really like each other. Very tight group, fun to be around, and those teams that you buy into real easily.
I made the mistake of saying who's the fastest on the team, and Kevin Jones jumped in, and then D'Angelo Hall. And then they got serious. Kevin Jones takes out the cell phone. Dad, hey, how you doing? Listen, ESPN guys are here. Tell them my fastest. Street here. I got Herb Street. Tell them my fastest 40. Dad picks up the phone. Hello? Yeah, it's a 418.
There's some of that speed on display right there as he picks up about 6 yards. Kevin Atkins pushed him out of bounds.
The thing I like about him the most is last week against LSU, he made 3 tackles on the special teams. I mean, how many times you see an All-American tailback, a gunner on the special teams? Only at Virginia Tech.
Only at Virginia Tech with the head coach, coaching special teams. They use the starters. The starters want to be a part of the great tradition of special teams here.
Well, as a matter of fact, Jones came out of the game on 3rd down because they were resting him for 4th down and punt. And he was right there on that punt return and made the play. Suggs back in the game. He gets it out to the 39-yard line. It will be 3rd and 1. The main reason that those 2 players see themselves on special teams, so many of the starters are on special teams units, is because the head coach, Frank Beamer, is the one who runs the special teams at Virginia Tech. And you've heard the stories before about why Frank Beamer gets all his good players on special teams. I thought it was interesting why he took over the special teams. He had about 6 assistant coaches leave over time. They all coach different parts of special teams. And so instead of passing it along to another assistant, why don't I take it over? As time went on, that's built the tradition that has turned into the most menacing special teams group in the country. First down for Suggs at the 42-yard line.
I just can't get over Virginia Tech has over 300 yards rushing now, and they've been running into an 8-man front the entire football game.
Remember, though, the reality.
I know it's Marshall, but
okay, Marshall was one of the worst defensive teams in the nation against the run.
Last year,
They're a little bit better this year.
You know how it is. I mean, we have 8 or 9 bodies up in the box. These guys are college players on scholarship, and that's still impressive. Sound like Texas A&M next week.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
It's still impressive.
Jones. A couple of hands on him there. Finally cleaned up by Jameis Martin, just a couple of yards. You go back to the special teams for a second. They are up there nationally in blocks under Frank Beamer, #1, air right up there with them. I thought it was interesting that every year in college football, people go visit people. You go call your friends, you go see what's hot, what's new, what can I add to our team's package, offensively or defensively. Well, a lot of people came to Virginia Tech after their unbelievable kick blocking year to see why does Virginia Tech do it so well on special teams, and what can we learn from them. 2nd and 9. Randall keeping on the option this time. Pulled down at midfield. Thought it was by the face mask, but it was not. And it'll be 3rd and a couple coming up. So after they had that great kick blocking year, Blacksburg was a very popular destination, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had, what, over 30 coaches came in and visited. And a lot of these guys started to talk to other coaches around the country, and some of these guys started to have success the next year. They're calling, writing notes to Frank. Hey, thanks for the inside scoop.
Meantime, that year, they had their fewest kick blocks in the Beamer era since this team has turned good.
So he said from now on, he's not giving them the aid material.
That's right.
He said you tell only certain things.
Not the good stuff.
But who came to visit this year? Air Force, the other team that's right up there with Virginia Tech for blocking kicks.
And they blocked the kick. Remember, they blocked the kick in the first game, and Richard DeBerry called him and thanked him.
That's right.
Said, hey, man, we use your stuff.
Why does that happen? That's bizarre to people in industry. If you think about business and the industry, don't share your trade secrets, because invariably your assistants go somewhere else, and then your stuff ends up beating you.
But you know what you learn? You always give what you did last year. You never give those guys a visit what you're going to do the new year.
I got you.
Remember that, sweetheart.
Did that happen in your era of coaching?
No, never. But I'll say one thing. The greatest basketball coach in the history of basketball is Bobby Knight. I saw guys come from Russia, Yugoslavia, China. They used to come from Virginia Tech to see me. They'd come from Russia to see him. China. I'm telling you, Spain, all over the world, basketball coaches would come to watch Bobby Knight teach defense. You know that? That was 15 years ago. The guy was the best teacher of basketball defense, I think, that ever coached the game. Saw him from all over the world, Kirk. All over the world.
I believe it. He's the man.
I never knew Bobby Knight was going to get into that discussion. That's the beauty of you, Coach. It's a great point. 3rd and 1, Jones, first down. At the 46-yard line. SportsCenter's coming up later on this evening as soon as we're done with Stuart Scott and Dan Patrick tonight. All the updates of the baseball pennant races.
You know, there's not many fans like Virginia Tech fans. It's Kirk and I are sitting up here, and it's 33-7, and nobody's going home. That means the traffic jam outside will never get out of his place back to the Roanoke.
I said it's break 33-7, and it's still jam-packed.
Yo, go on home.
For the record, on College Football Thursday night, presented by Circuit City, Lee is thinking about the escape.
Yes. Well,
Suggs pops it to the outside, and he escapes. Lee Suggs. On a night when Virginia Tech, for the 7th time under Frank Beamer, has had 2 backs go over 100 yards, Suggs takes his total on up to 150.
Good blocking, but of course, again, it's Lee Suggs' strength to break the tackles. And once you break a tackle against an 8-man front, there's a lot of room for Lee Suggs to hit the corner and pick up more yardage. That's one of the dangers when you play that 8-man front.
About that run-pass mix that we saw earlier. They threw the ball once here in this quarter, the first play. Give to the fullback, and Josh Spence. Able to carry it that time. He's the reserve fullback. Backs up Kieslick. Down to the third stringers now. We'll break down Byron Leftwich's night coming up on SportsCenter. Give you our impressions of seeing the senior quarterback, who still might be the best quarterback in America. Randy Moss answering his critics. A little conversation from Minnesota, and Cards and Astros showing down as the days get later and the opportunities get fewer for Houston, chasing St. Louis in the National League Central. Dan and Stu coming up with SportsCenter after the game. 2nd and 6 from the 16. Jones takes it down to the 8-yard line. That was the 11th play of this drive. To go with the 9-play drive and the 15-play drive.
You know, the Tech defense has done a great job of stopping Byron Leftwich, but I think the Tech offense maybe has done a little bit of a better job of stopping Byron Leftwich. We got him on the sidelines for almost this entire second half.
91 yards for Marshall in the second half, 80 of them coming on that last drive. Virginia Tech has now run for over 350 yards tonight. Cedric Hughes takes it down to the 7. Lee, you mentioned Texas A&M often. Virginia Tech goes on a 3-game road trip. After opening up with 3 home victories, they'll go to Texas A&M, to Western Michigan, and then we see them on college football Thursday night. About a month on Chestnut Hill to take on Boston College. Then, as you see all the yellow triangles, the tough road games, they go to Syracuse on November 9th. Thinking payback after the Orangemen walked it here and beat Tech. And then December 7 at Miami. There is the chance, emphasize chance, that could be 2 undefeated teams. Long way to go. Jones turns the corner. Let's see, I think he was thinking out of bounds at the 1. Yes, he was. These poor field judges get beat up all the time on those plays. Much the speed to the corner.
Not only the speed, but the move to pop it out there. Just mentioned Virginia Tech's schedule. Realistically, in my opinion, I think Virginia Tech's a year away from being a national title contender. Most of this team comes back, and they get the turnover with the schedule. Miami, Boston College, Syracuse, they all have to come in to play the Hokies in Lane Stadium. It's a young team.
Jones for his 3rd touchdown of the night. That's a career-high 3-touchdown night for Kevin Jones. And I don't think I've ever seen a top 20 ranked team. And I know rankings in September don't always hold their weight. I don't think I've ever seen a top 20 team give up touchdown drives of 15 plays, 14 plays, 9 plays. If you add all those up, that's 38 plays. 37 of them were runs on those drives. Jones has 3. Suggs has 2. The guys in Hokie land are the real deal in 2002. A lot of push-ups for Virginia Tech fans this year. 129 to 22. They have dominated their opponents in the first 3 games.
Just want to say thanks to God. And what's up, y'all? Blacksburg, I love y'all. Home, I love y'all. Hey, what's up, mama? Hey, Bartow represent. My boy Zach. It's all good, dog. Coming by, though.
Parham can't say. Jones has 3 touchdowns tonight. He's the only one we can hear from. This one's not coming back either. Touchback. Byron Leftwich was impressive in the last drive, 6 of 6. What did you learn about him tonight, Kirk?
You look at the score, it's 40-7. What we learned is he's the real deal. His numbers aren't impressive, 22 of 38 for 289. He had 5 drops tonight, but you saw the real Leftwich in the last drive. Took his team right down the field, 6 for 6, touchdown. And look at the spiral, look at the arm strength. And he's had a tough task to go up against this defense, but he's hung in there. And I tell you what, as far as winning the Heisman Trophy, forget about it. At this point, after losing this game, for him to get invited to New York City would be a great honor for Byron Leftwich because he plays at Marshall and he plays in a MAC.
Marshall's had the ball for 4.5 of the 24.5 minutes since halftime. That pass is incomplete. We talk about Leftwich potentially getting to New York as one of the Heisman finalists, and we showed you earlier Randy Moss and Chad Pennington. Consider, if he goes, that would be 3 Marshall players in 6 years. That's more than Alabama, UCLA, USC, Penn State, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Colorado combined.
Wow, that's good stuff.
If Marshall gets 3 in 6 years, those schools altogether, all-time schools in terms of national prominence and success recently, they haven't had 3 altogether in the last 6 years.
I know he has to get the votes, but I would think that if he has the kind of year you expect in that conference, he's going to get invited to New York City.
Deflected off of Tech defensive lineman and nearly an interception for Jim Davis.
You know, we said
off his helmet.
We said before the show that it wasn't fair to evaluate this young man in his environment. Number one, he's playing the 9th ranked team in the nation, and they're much better up front both ways, and it wasn't fair to him. From what I've seen, he's a better passer than Dorsey. He's a better passer than Grossman. He's a better passer than Navarre from Michigan. He's the best passer I've seen this year by far.
A lot of guys better than Navarre.
By far, this kid. And you only said that because he's from Michigan. We'll see when we see potential. We'll see.
He's having a good start. John Navarre's having a great start.
Very good start.
We'll see.
Navarre's not up there with Dorsey, Grossman, and Leftwich, is he?
No.
All right.
Passes. Rules the catch at the 39-yard line.
The last game
Curtis
of the year, Navarre beat Ohio State last year.
He did?
Yes, sir.
Last year?
No, not last year. Not last year. No.
Was it Ohio State beat him last year.
Right.
What are you talking about?
In my dreams, he beat him.
Okay.
You know, I think
to Columbus.
I think this kid here is a better passer than any of the quarterbacks we've seen this year.
I agree. And the Heisman Trophy gets a lot of attention, and so does the draft in New York City. And that's when he wins, during draft time.
Strike again to Josh Davis. And the NFL scouts do have him rated. It is early. They have him rated as the #1 quarterback and the #1 overall player in the draft. And when the NFL guys get him, they're going to see not the perfect, ready to drop into your system quarterback. He's going to have some work to do fundamentally.
Who is anymore?
Nobody.
I mean, you don't see college quarterbacks step into an NFL system and start in their first year unless a team is desperate. I think for him to get under, a quarterback who's established, learn for a year or two, he's going to be a phenomenal NFL quarterback. It's just going to take some time.
I want
Kyle with the big hit, and the flag comes in as Josh Davis couldn't hang on. They're trying to protect what they call unprotected receivers, and the way Pyle hit Davis as he was prone there is the reason that flag came. That's a tough call on Pyle. If that, in fact, was the flag. Maybe it was interfered with earlier. I don't know.
Pass interference on the defense. Penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
How about these fans? Yep. They're into this game 47. My hat's off to you, folks. ESPN's College Football Saturday after college game day from Columbus. Georgia Tech Clemson, our ACC doubleheader. Get a look at Greg Gathers, good pass rusher for Chan Gailey's team. Then in prime time, presented by the United States Postal Service, Chris Ricks in Florida State taking on Maryland, the reigning ACC champions. The Seminoles got last year. Long throw is caught. Tough hit for several people over there, including our audio man. Darius Watts brought it down.
Aaron Pollock, he's going to take one for the team there.
You know, Mike, you and Kirk, I watched a kid named Dante Culpepper play a lot of years at the University of Central Florida. And he went on and played Minnesota. It's the same size. This young man, Byron Leftwich, is a better passer than Dante Culpepper, but he cannot run with the ability that Dante Culpepper. But he's got the arm strength, the size, and he's a better passer.
I think you're right. From a passing standpoint, he's got a better touch, and he's more accurate. I don't think when he's had time tonight, he's put the ball right there every time.
But Culpepper was a better runner and a scrambler.
Look at that throw.
Perfect touchdown pass to Denaro Maria. 40-13 the score. Kirk, that was similar to the play you talked about earlier, throwing it before the receiver made his break, veteran quarterback things that you see out of Leftwich that you love.
Yep, relationship with the receiver, looks to the right, comes back to the left, throws the ball. And I don't think has he thrown a ball that hasn't been a spiral in it?
Nope. I don't think so.
I'm sold. I know it's 40-13. You know, they're sitting at home saying, "Are these guys? What are these guys talking about?"
Yeah.
He's losing 40-14.
And they've been here for the last 4 hours.
Yeah, he's real deal. Well. 54 points scored here on College Football Thursday night. 4:20 to go. Sports Center comes your way with Dan Patrick and Stu Scott tonight. Right after we're done. These students will head back to their dorm, and the thousands of people in the east and west stands here will be back as well. Onside kick opportunity at 40-14. Marshall trying to get its hands on the ball one more time. With 4:20 to go. Make sure you have to have at least 4 people on one side of the ball. They kick the other way off the hands of Sean Witten. It bounces free. D'Angelo Hall was at the bottom but couldn't come up with it. And Marshall has recovered the onside kick. Frank Beamer will do some special teams work with his guys, as Brad Bates was at the bottom of the pile and came up with it for Marshall. Frank Beamer's program, we talk about the special teams work. You see what they have done record-wise. They had 24 wins in a 5-year stretch. There's some dark days around Blacksburg. And Frank Beamer has been around to see success of the program, playing the national championship game. Tonight his jersey retired, honoring his playing days and a testament to his coaching success as well. Leftwich gets to work. Underneath pass is complete. Lee, they built a great program.
You know, Frank, everybody wanted to fire Frank when he was 2-8-1, but you know, he was saved his job by Dave Brain, who's now the athletic director of Georgia Tech. He kept Frank, and Frank that year signed Cornell Brown, the #1 football player in the state of Virginia. And everybody said, whoa, something's got to be going good at Virginia Tech.
This is one of the building blocks to the turnaround. Lee will have more of those in a second as Leftwich goes pedal to the metal, completes it out to the 32-yard line. A first down for Curtis Jones.
After Dave Brain kept him, then Frank's next team went to the Independence Bowl. And now that bowl win, and that gave him 9 straight bowls. Success breeds success, and he now had it started moving forward. Then he got to the Big East and TV exposure. Frank loves Thursday night games because it gives him a chance to show his football program to everybody in the nation.
Show these loyal fans hanging around at a game that was 40-7 a few minutes ago and cheering for their defense like it's 40-34. They're lighting up Leftwich on this drive as well. Denaro Marriott with the catch. 29-yard line. Second down coming up.
And another reason why he kept his staff continuity very well. He pays them well, but the key thing is he lets them coach, and he gets good people. Kirk mentioned it early. He got a guy like Kevin Rogers to come from Notre Dame to coach the quarterbacks. Tremendous football coach. He gets good people, let them coach, and then keeps them. And upgrading facilities. As good as there is in the country now.
Screen pass to call off the rush dogs a little bit. Rader, the tight end, caught it and got it out to the 19-yard line.
And one last point. I want you guys to know this, and I'm saying this a long time in advance, but this reminds me a lot of Penn State 15 years ago. They started with a nice stadium. It got bigger at one end. Pretty soon it got bigger than the other. Frank is putting this program together, and I would not be surprised within the next 4 or 5 years that Frank builds this program into a national championship team. They'll put the stadium bigger, get better facilities, and Virginia Tech will be like Penn State 10 years from now. Mark my words. It's exactly the same way Penn State built the program.
You can't have a great in-state program without a talented state to recruit from, and Virginia is producing some great athletes. This is pass 49 on the night for Leftwich. It's caught for a touchdown by Brad Bates, who recovered the onside kick. So the total effort by Marshall gets them within 20. Leftwich took a bunch of hits there, but hung in there to go over 400 passing yards on the night. Again,
he just doesn't give up.
You're going to look back in 2 months and say he was 31 of 49 for 406 yards.
With 5 drops.
Against Virginia Tech. Here.
Leftwich took a bunch of hits that time. 40-21.
He's the real deal, my people.
Staff over there. He was hobbling around after getting hit a few times on that drive, but he's really brought his team down the field nicely the last couple of drives. Sure, Virginia Tech's defense is a little different in philosophy at this point in the game, but it doesn't mean that the passes are easy to throw like a 7-on-7 drill. On the numbers, on time, right spots.
He's thrown one bad pass tonight that McKee intercepted. Everything else,
onside kick try, and this one, sorry, but D'Angelo Hall's going to take care of it.
Everything else, when he's had time to throw, has been right there. I mean, you watch Ken Dorsey play, and he is a great quarterback. But one of the toughest things for all, Rex Grossman, all these guys, is you're going to miss a couple throws here or there.
Now, you're the only person here qualified because you have faced the live bullets of throwing in Division I. Is that the most impressive part, how accurate he has been on every pass with this many passes against this kind of defense?
Well, I think it's a couple things. I think it's his accuracy, but it's also his attitude. I mean, they got down early, and he kept coming back. He kept trying to bring his team back. But
Kevin Jones turned the corner and got out of bounds at the 26-yard line. A late hit will add 15, and the fans really wanted that flag after the one called earlier on Willie Pott. So they'll be down at about the 11 or 12-yard line here.
But as far as his physical ability, the arm strength is as good as you're going to find. The accuracy is there. He anticipates well for a college quarterback, which is something they really work on hard when they get him up to the next level in the NFL. He's already doing that. He's got a great mind for the game. He studies the game. I mean, he is the total package. Now, when Jaws and the rest of the NFL guys get a hold of him and want to tweak him, they're going to find that, you know, they can work on him here. They can get the ball up a little bit. But overall, as far as a product going to the next level, forget about it.
You think about
as good as you're going to see.
David Carr, who looked so good on Sunday night in the Houston opener. David Carr was the first pick of the NFL draft, and they changed his ball position when he got into the league. And he was at a good passing school, Fresno State, but nobody goes into the NFL and gets untouched mechanically. From the 11-yard line. A couple of yards. They get John Candelas in there for a rare carry. Johnny's 6th on the year, redshirt freshman. So young, this Virginia Tech team. And when Lee mentioned earlier all the building blocks for this program, you can see it, how talented they are with very few senior starters in this lineup right now. SportsCenter coming up as soon as we're done. Tech leads by 19.
Okay,
freshman from right here in Blacksburg. Blacksburg High School.
No, I'm looking at the ISO. The guy tapped.
Dave Christ, the coach at Blacksburg High School. A great moment for that young man. 6 foot 200 pounder. An exciting moment for him as Virginia Tech extends out to a 47-21 lead. What are you doing?
I'm doing this because, listen, besides Texas A&M, Virginia Tech has one of the great ROTC programs in America. And I had lunch with General Jerry Allen, Colonel Rock Rosick, Captain Jim Smith. And I'm telling you what, they had a halftime show that was as good as anybody. And what I'm wearing is their hat. And if you'll notice, Mike, see what it says? It says, now to see that halftime show, that's put on by the cadets. The ROTC program here is as good as anybody in the nation. In fact, they're taking 40 of them down to Texas A&M when they play there and have a contest against them.
Yeah, the band, FDNY honoring the Fire Department of New York this day after September 11th.
And this is what they call a cover, just for you guys that have been in the military. And this says VPI, Virginia Polytechnical Institute, which used to be the name. So I want you to salute those guys. They're great. 80% of the people in ROTC here get commissioned in officer. That's 80%. Wonderful.
That's a great percent, really. Wilbur Hargroves taken down by DJ Walton in the closing seconds of this one. Reminder, Sports Center's coming up. Let's see if Leftwich will come out for one more drive at 47-21. Virginia Tech's going to bring in a lot of defensive subs. No, Leftwich is done for the night. Stan Hill will come in as the quarterback. So Byron Leftwich's night is done. 49 passes, 406 yards, 3 touchdowns. Stan Hill steps in. Son of a coach. His dad, Johnny, the head coach at Tupelo High School. Became the #2 quarterback after Andrew English transferred to Hofstra in the offseason. Joe Gardy's program there. Caught at the 23 by Curtis Jones. And here's Jerry Punch.
A little bit ago, Lee talked about Frank Beamer building a program here and how he was just getting started, and he compared it to Penn State. Well, when you build a program, you win when you're very young. That's exactly what Frank Beamer is doing. Now, he's got 115 players on his roster. 83 are scholarship, 32 walk-on. Only 13 seniors, 17 juniors. That means 65 players are underclassmen. 73% of his roster are underclassmen.
That's why I'm talking about building for the future. This pass is deflected and ruled incomplete. And the diving attempt for the INT by Jimmy F. Williams, the reserve safety. Mentioned Frank Beamer, a player at Virginia Tech, now taking his alma mater to great heights as a head coach. And for that reason and his playing days, number 25 in an emotional pregame ceremony, a retired jersey, much like Michael Vick's jersey was retired. And Frank's entire family here, obviously his wife and daughter live here. His son Shane, who is a graduate assistant coach at Tennessee, also here to honor his dad tonight. Always very easy to root for the good people to succeed, and he is great people.
And also behind his program is an athletic director named Jim Weaver. And the reason I mentioned Penn State, Jim Weaver played at Penn State, was with Joe Paterno, and he's using Penn State as a model to get this program up to one of the great programs in the country.
Yeah, and Jim Weaver is a hands-on athletic director that really believes in trying to help the coaches, helping his coaches out. They had a vision with these facilities. They kept talking about it every time we would come in. They were showing us the drawings. And now it's a reality. This, not only the stadium and the suites at the south stands, but also the football offices. What they've done, a little museum on the inside. It is really, really nice. And to be able to compete with the elite programs in the country, you have to be able to do that.
I thought they were just trying to keep the architects in business here in the Roanoke, Blacksburg area. All the times we'd see these diagrams. The south end zone off to our right that you're seeing the shot of is phenomenal. And they're talking about redoing the west side of the stadium, which is the side where the press box is. The near side, as a matter of fact, $48 million proposal to expand the west side was approved and could be done as early as 2005. We look forward to that, and perhaps a TV booth on the 6th floor instead of the 10th. Pass caught by Curtis Jones.
One thing also, that because there are some rumors around here, the fact that Virginia Tech had to cut their budget by 8%, the total school, but this is all private money. This is money that Jim Weaver, Frank Beamer, and his men go out and raise. It's not taking away from the academics institution at Virginia Tech.
Gentlemen, you are, of course, off to that early Friday morning flight, as always, for a Herbie home game, college game day, from the banks of the Olentangy, the old horseshoe, before Ohio State, Washington State. Ball was hit. This is caught by Joe Deeple, the backup tight end.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard a rumor that Jake and Ty Herbstreit might be showing up, huh?
They might make a cameo.
Twins?
Yeah, the Twins might pull out. They may make a cameo.
It'd be great to see them here.
That'd be a great scene. Marshall is taking the time out. This is their opportunity to get Stan Hill some experience running a 2-minute drill. That's why they're taking these timeouts here with 26 seconds until sports end.
Good time for them to run the football, I think. Work on that ground game. Really try to eat some clock up.
Next week, college football Thursday night presented by Circuit City will be in Starkville, Auburn, and Mississippi State. A good SEC Thursday night game.
Little Deweys.
Oh, yeah.
Little Deweys.
The early call has gone out to Little Deweys.
Little Deweys. We'll be there.
We'll be there, Little Deweys.
Little Wednesday night, Little Dewey. Little Thursday night at the game.
You guys have a good time. Take care of Mr. Fowler. Don't beat him up too much. Next Thursday night.
Chris always loves to go. There's something about Starkville that Chris's favorite stop. He tells us that every time we see him.
That'll be a good SEC game. Auburn and Mississippi State. Gonna need it.
Can't wait to see Carnell Williams. There's the ground game. There they go.
Coach Herbstreit getting it done. Good call. Wilbur Hargrove. They're excited about him in the future. He gets it out to midfield.
Stand bounds.
Sorry, I'm not going to be with you in Starkville. Golf assignment in Ireland, but I'll. We got Florida State back-to-back weeks after next week too. We'll see Florida State at Louisville, and then Clemson, Florida State in the Bowden Bowl down in South Carolina, and then we get to see Virginia Tech, Boston College.
3 good games.
Absolutely, 4 good games, including next week. Marshall will play on ESPN against Central Florida next Friday night. And Central Florida is one of those good teams from the MAC, along with Miami of Ohio. Really a team that I got a chance to watch it play Iowa in Oxford, Ohio, and a very good team.
It's Central Florida's first year in the MAC.
Yes.
They played Penn State and Arizona State. Now they get Marshall.
Tough way to start.
I'm telling you.
The quarterback's banged up a little bit, too,
yes,
right?
he is. They gave Penn State all they could handle, but Arizona State outrun them.
Delay of game here. Terrific weekend of football. It's one of 5 games with matching top 25 teams. The game you're going to be at, guys, Ohio State and Washington State, Colorado, Southern California, Notre Dame, Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State at night, part of Yardstick Saturday. Get 2002 going. Shake out some of those early season rankings. Ball down. I believe Virginia Tech has it, and they do. They can add to their turnover total. And close this out tonight. We'll have some thoughts on Byron Leftwich coming up on SportsCenter. For those of you who might have been tuning in late, the guys will break down their impressions of the highly touted senior quarterback. I walk away believing that Virginia Tech is worthy of its top 10 ranking. Still unclear, and you'll find out more next week as they go to A&M to take on the Aggies of R.C. Slocum. If they can do enough in the air to win a game. But you always have to win a game in the air at some point in the season, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Once they get into conference play, and even next week, of course, at Kyle Field, it's going to be not quite as easy to run for 396 yards against the Aggies on Kyle Field.
Will Hunt came in to take the final snap, and we say goodnight from Blacksburg after Virginia Tech improves its record to 3-0, winning by 26. Byron Leftwich throwing for over 400 yards. For Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Jerry Punch, Mike Tirico, we'll see you on SportsCenter in a few minutes. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now here come Dan and Stu with SportsCenter.